Happy Thursday, everybody. My name is Kevin, aka Touring Around. You're watching Unboxing Thursdays, episode 170. Tonight we have a Mondo-sized unboxing. I'm going to be opening up some really cool stuff, and I'll be joined by my co-host, DK, and also Peter and Hector from Mondo. And I hope you stick around and enjoy the show. DK.
Hey, I'm Eric Bauza.
The voice of Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. And you are watching Toying Around.
Hello there, toy collectors. My name is Kevin, aka Touring Around, and I am very excited to bring you this special review.
If anything, the Kim family, they're archetypes. Sad, but not always a bad thing.
I'm okay. I have one juicy on the name.
Let's try though. Let's still try.
DK, I thought we worked it out in between the two videos. Luckily, this time I was just taking a sip of coffee, trying to mind my own business.
Hey, I pressed the countdown was 10 seconds, and I pressed it and it had that gap. So I think next time I gotta press it at 9-second mark, so it would be seamless, maybe.
Well, I'm really excited for tonight's show. We grew up, we're the same era generation. How do you feel? Where does X-Men the animated series rank for you?
Like top tier, man.
Wait, but the other hand went higher. What's the other hand?
I don't know. I was trying to think Spider-Man. I'm like, yeah, it's hands down top tier. X-Men,
hands down.
Yeah, no.
I swear this is not written. This is DK.
Yep, nope, this is
every
just me
day
talking. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, no, X-Men animated, awesome. Spider-Man animated, awesome. But we're gonna be here today. X-Men. That's what we're gonna talk about today.
Well, I think like X-Men, Batman, Spider-Man are like that same era of animated series that really impacted me, as like in this geeky kind of world. So it's crazy. We're going to be talking tonight about most of that stuff, if not all. That's why I was really intrigued and excited to have people over from Mondo to talk about their offerings. I've been really looking at the 1/6 stuff, and the figures look really cool. So I am very excited to have on the show tonight from Mondo. We have another fellow YouTuber, also very talented. We have he goes by Attack Peter on YouTube, and of course Hector Arce, both from Mondo. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Bring him back. There he is.
Sorry.
Hey.
hey, welcome.
Whoa.
Thanks for having us, man.
Thanks for
Happy
having
to be
us.
here.
Sure.
No, it is our honor, mine and DK's and the chat, obviously. Speaking for everybody, I'm sorry. Yeah, we obviously did not write that intro.
I loved it.
It was hands down, baby.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Hands down. Hands up.
DK had a lot of difficulty in school.
Yeah,
the teacher said, "Raise your hand for a question." His hand went right down.
I work best under high pressure, guys.
That was great.
Oh man. Yeah, Hector, Peter, thank you so much for being here. Again, it's just really cool, some of the products. It's weird when you're collecting toys. There's so many different pockets of other things that you don't get exposed to immediately, but you when you find it, it's so good. You're like, man, how did I not get into this stuff or not know about this the whole time? But Mondo has been there, making really awesome posters for years, also, and records and vinyl, things like that, which is really cool. But you're both very creative people, and I just want to see alongside the products is like, what are you personally interested in? Also, I'm going to start with Hector. Hector, man, like what kind of properties are into that drives you, and do you personally collect things, not necessarily, well, other than things that you also designed, but like what kind of stuff are you in? What kind of stuff are you into?
Yeah, man. I mean,
my go-tos for the longest time was I'm a big Godzilla fan, and that's kind of been a big part of my life for since I was a baby. Basically, my first ever Godzilla movie that my dad bought for me when I was at like a Kmart or something. I thought it was just a dinosaur fighting a giant lobster, and turned out that was like the movie that changed my life. And then I just became a super fan, and then from there, my career's kind of been guided by Godzilla in a weird way. And so be it that at Mondo we have the license to do Godzilla stuff, so that's kind of been one of my favorite things to do. I'm also big into anything from when we grew up as kids, man. Like I grew up on Masters of the Universe, I grew up on Transformers, G.I. Joe, Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin, Power Rangers, that kind of stuff. So luckily here at Mondo we've been able to do a lot of cool stuff and have access to all these dream licenses that I never thought I'd get to play around with. And then besides that, I'm a huge fan. I mean, I was a big fan of Mondo before I even, before I worked here, and I was buying the posters or trying to buy posters, because they would sell out in minutes. Right.
Right.
And, I was that guy on the other end of the line for at Mondo, being like, hoping I could like buy something, at Comic-Con. Right. So, but outside of the work stuff and the stuff that I work on and all of that, I love the NECA Ninja Turtle line. I think it's probably like perfection for Ninja Turtles, about as perfect as you get. So I especially their live action stuff. So I've been collecting those.
The movie turtles are some of the best toys out there. Like so many toy photos you see, and it can be made to look like a movie still. To have that from a toy, it's pretty incredible.
I've been saying the quarter scale figures from the TMNT ones for the movie, especially for the price, it's such a high value. To me, it's probably some of the greatest figures ever made, period. Like outside of TMNT, whatever. It's like the engineering, the accessories, the likenesses. To me, I've said that to them directly. It's some of the best toys ever made. Those NECA.
The texture too.
Yeah.
When they first came out, it was just the quarter scale, and they were like 160, 180 Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's you got to buy 4, and I used to almost cry because I'm like, that's a lot of money to have all 4. And then so when they finally released them in the 7-inch scale, I was so happy.
I bought one of the quarter scale ones, the Michelangelo one, probably 2019, 2020, whatever it was. And I'm like, I'm just getting one. I just want to have a representation. It's so good. I can't miss it. And you know what it was, dude? I avoided it for a while, but a buddy of mine who I visited out west had all 4 of them, big and the regular size. And I saw them in person. I'm like, holy. And then seeing them next to the regular 8-inch figures makes it even crazier because those already look perfect. But then when you see them together, you're like, oh my God. It's like the whole industry took a step forward with those figures. They're that. So I got one, and then I'm like, okay, just got Michelangelo. It's all good. I'm like, you got to have Donatello too.
I don't know who you were kidding, thinking that you could just stop at one Ranger. One turtle,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, it's just, I was like, oh, space. They're expensive. What am I doing? I don't need that. I don't have to prove myself to anybody anymore. I'm an adult. And then eventually, dude, when they come in, I'm like, it's crazy. Don't get one unless you want all 4. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that might, you know what? I shouldn't say that based on what I'm opening tonight. Pretty, that's a pretty hip, a lot of hypocrisy coming from my end here. But yeah, we'll go through what we're opening later. Peter, what about yourself, man? What are you into collecting? And also, you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It's really cool what you do.
Thanks,
so,
man.
let people know real quick too.
Yeah,
well,
I got a YouTube channel. I go live Wednesday nights. I'm very thoughtful YouTuber because I looked at all your channels and I go, let me not overlap any of their nights.
That's very considerate.
Toying around is Thursday. Toy anxiety is Tuesday. Like Ryan Dole's Gotham City Tonight is after my show on Wednesday. I was the most thoughtful YouTuber, what people are telling me when they talk about my channel. But it's Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I do live art. We talk about fun, geeky stuff. And yeah, I start to finish carve a linoleum block, which is the medium that I'm known for and the medium that is inspired all the figures that we've worked on, etc. So it's a fun time. invite anybody to come and hang out Wednesday nights. It's a good time. But my favorite stuff to collect, dude, it's crazy because it's all over the place. But the core stuff, Hector and I have a lot in common. Like I'm a huge Godzilla guy. I love the Sofubi. I love the more realistic stuff, like the X Plus stuff. I mean, I grew up with He-Man, but the Mondo line made me fall in love with it like another time. Like I was like, I love it. It's nostalgia. It's cool. There's so much good stuff. I avoided all the new stuff until the Mondo stuff. I'm like, damn it, it's really good. And then another thing that I collect, anything monsters. So I love Universal monsters. I love 80s horror slashers and things like that. So I do get a lot of Halloween masks. That's my other like collection. Like I Trick or Treat Studios and Devil's Workshop, things like that. And I have them displayed. By the way, it's really cool for a collection room. You get the little wall mounted, they're like hat hooks or whatever it is.
Right.
You put the mask right on it. It looks amazing in your collection room, especially if you have Black Series helmets and all that kind of stuff. Strong recommend.
Oh, do those like the ones where you just hang your baseball cap on it?
Yeah, it's like a little it's like an elbow thing. It mounts on the wall. It comes out and then up, and then it's got like a ring.
Yeah, that's cool.
Dude, it's awesome. And you don't even see the display thing. It's just like floating heads. It looks so badass. My dream as a kid was to live in a Halloween trick-or-treat shop, like a trick shop or whatever. And I'm almost there. Dude. I'm so close.
I think you've kind of accomplished it, man. You're pretty.
Yeah, I'm close. I still got to get like the prank stuff, like the fake poop and all that kind of stuff. I want to have that, just mixed in.
How do you have any wall space left to put? I'm out of wall space.
Look at you. It looks like you're in the warehouse of the Mattel. Like you're looking like you're ready to ship stuff from there. Yeah, we're all in the same boat.
I'm trying to sell stuff.
I mean, this is about it. Like the only space I have left is like above these toys, and there's just maybe that's about it.
Yeah, you're gonna learn to display things very much like a maximalist, and in order to survive. And this is a piece of advice for all collectors. In my collection, very little is precious. There are a few things that I'm like, I'll never sell, trade, or like go with this piece for multiple reasons. But anything else, dude, it's like if the day comes where I'm like, I'd rather it not be there than be there. You know what I mean? I'm like, out. I don't care if it's a hot toy. I don't care if it's like a one-off, whatever it is. And it makes me less stressed out about space and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So the classic question of if there's a fire, what is the one thing? And you can only grab one. Damn it, Peter. What would you grab? Do you need a few minutes?
Yeah, it changes day to day, but the real answers, I have an original Mike Mignola drawing. So like originally drawn by the creator of Hellboy punching a monster. I bought it like 20 something years ago with all the money I had at Comic-Con. And it's little, it's a 5x7. So I'm probably grabbing that. And here's an answer to please the crowd. An original mint on card, not with Raphael with a squishy head.
Oh,
flex.
Very nice. Hector, what about you? I saw you scanning the room.
Making
some decisions.
What makes it hard is like when we were talking right before we went live, it was like a lot of this stuff, like 80% of it's like stuff that I worked on or I designed or whatever. So it does all, I do have a personal connection to a lot of it. So it was just kind of like, man, I don't know. I think
you just make it again.
Just let the house burn at that point.
Yeah, you just order a couple more from the factory, bro.
Yeah, because even a bunch of these going is already going to pump me out. I mean, I do have something which is, you guys can't see it, but it's right here next to my desk, and it's a poster of the original 2014 Godzilla movie, and I got to work on that. And it's signed by the director and Bryan Cranston and a lot of the actors that were in that movie, and that's probably something I would have to grab. I can't let that burn.
Sweet. Well,
I don't know if you heard the story, but Hector had a hand in designing that look of Godzilla, the legendary Godzilla.
Really?
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
It was something I did it was like early on, just helped out the studio, like trying to figure out like the direction of the look of Godzilla, and it was super early. Like it was like a thought that was going to happen, right? And then it slowly then became the movie, and I got to meet the director Gareth Edwards and work with the producers a little closer and develop it a bit more. But yeah, it was definitely like it was my first gig ever awesome. Was that, which was
huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. Hector, that is awesome. I have nothing but praise because this modern rendition of Godzilla, like it's awesome. Like I love it. So thank you for being a part of that.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah,
Thank you for.
it was a
That's
dream
awesome.
come true for sure.
The homie Mario says, "Don't let yourself get attached to anything that you're not willing to walk out on in 30 seconds flat if you feel the heat around the corner."
You know what's funny, man? Like I saw Josh Brown saying that that I have a healthy view on collecting in the comments, but I think when that happened for me was when I got to work in this business and meet a lot of the people who I respect tremendously, because as long as I can remember, I've been a student of this business. Like I used to read Toy Fair magazine like it's the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I knew the Four Horsemen, and I knew the names of the sculptors before the internet was really good. Like, you know, so when I got to start, you would read it like in magazines like Figure Modeler and stuff like that. And so when I started to get to the point where my artwork allowed me to have conversations on the level with the people that I respect, it's suddenly the figures were more like an artifact of that experience, and the experience is what I was really into. Like the fact that we're having this conversation, like, you know, I love all these toy shows. I love hanging out and watching you guys. So being able to talk to you, to me, becomes more exciting than any one figure or thing like that. So toys to me kind of like have been a key to get to meet and work with the people that I really, really respect. And that has trumped the act of collecting them for me.
Yeah, I think it's, for me also, just it's become this thing where it's almost in every part of the daily life, as much as my wife hates that. But like the people that I've met through here, like the people that the strongest and best connections that I've formed, and it's just been like that for the last little while. And I never would have guessed that from that toy show that randomly was near my house 11 years ago that got me back into all this stuff. DK, I want to know, what are you opening tonight, my friend? If anything.
Nothing but Transformers. I went back to my other.
Perfect.
That's all I got. Sorry, guys. I went back over to my parents' house and I dug up stuff.
Do your parents wonder why you're there every Thursday, like scrounging through the garage or the attic?
Do you send stuff to your parents' house, like, or what does that mean?
It's because I moved out.
Okay.
Like around the pandemic time, but
okay.
Spacing where I moved out didn't allow for all my collection, right? So I have like 2 places for my collection.
And you got boxed items there that you'll open on the show. Oh.
Kind of. It's honestly, it's stuff that's been sitting there for like, I don't know, for as long as I've been collecting. There's stuff there that, I don't know, maybe from the year 2000 that I never even opened.
That's cool.
You don't feel obligated to open something, do you? Like, I don't want you opening things that you're like, no,
I'm opening it sadly.
Why? Why am I doing this show? No, it's not.
What have you made me done?
Yeah.
Why?
It's honestly like with the reason why I love toys so much, like, is obviously because of Transformers, but like I enjoy the design, I enjoy the engineering behind that.
He does.
Like, there's a lot of thought that goes through it, right? And to me, toys, the sculptors involved, the designers involved, everyone, right? Like, they put this out to enjoy and play, not to be in a box. So like, I just don't have time to open it. That's the only thing, right? I always want to get around it. What?
Shots fired at some mint on card people.
Well, everyone's different, right? Like, I get that. But then for me, my take on toys is take it out to enjoy and play. So with that said, I have this one, which is Transformers Double Dealer from Earthrise. I think this has been sitting around my house for at least like 3 years or 2 years.
Nice.
And then also, if I have time, which I probably don't. Oh, God. Sorry. A lot of wires.
Glad you're prepared.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice. Senator Cutthroat.
No, it's not Senator Cutthroat. It's like all these combiners of... These are called the Terracons, and I got 5 of them to open. I can't hand it. They all combine into one.
Pace yourself, dude.
Guy.
Pace yourself.
Yeah, so I don't know.
You don't want to.
That's 4 episodes, dude. If you play your cards right, you don't have to go out to your parents' house for a month.
Yeah, that is true.
Hi, Mom and Dad. Yeah. I opened all my toys.
It's like I got nothing left to open. So yeah,
Wait,
I don't know. No, these are the 5 that can make into one
okay,
giant, cool. Like, robot, right? So like, I'll see what I decide to do. Maybe open one at a time, and then you guys got to tune in until like about like November 1st or something like that, or whatever the November show to have the full combination.
All right, Kevin and Hector have really cool ones, so I'll go next. Kevin, is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I have a little shout out to my friends at Super 7. I went out and got this guy.
Hey,
Nice.
I love this line. I've been trying to avoid it at all costs because it's like I know I'm gonna have to get multiple. I even bought a few of them for my brother for Christmas just to scratch the itch, but not have to own it. Yeah, you got Homer there.
Yeah.
I didn't get that one because I'm waiting to see what other Homers. That's really good, dude.
It's ridiculous that they put this.
The Simpson line is so good.
That's awesome.
So
yeah,
good.
it's perfect.
They've killed it.
And a whole panda. A whole
exactly. The whole panda, the flaming Mo. I can't wait to open
I know. Wow. I didn't even realize that Mo came with the panda.
Yeah, he even has his little like rag that he wipes his hands with and everything. It's really cool. And the pickled egg. So that's my opening. Just one. It's enough.
No, that one's good. It has a whole crate.
Yeah. Are you getting this line?
I have that first wave, and I think I'm gonna try and collect the core characters.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Excited for Krusty.
I'm getting Krusty, no question.
Krusty's a no-brainer. Ralph Wiggum.
Nice.
And who's the guy who's like a Bond villain? He's not a core character, but that's one of my favorite episodes.
Scorpio?
Yeah,
Hank Scorpio.
Yeah.
I'm getting Kang and Kodos. I don't care if the rest of the line collapses. I'm getting those two. Like those
are your must-haves.
Yeah. Have you seen how big they are, dude?
I've only seen the either prototypes or whichever stage it is at San Diego.
Yeah, they're huge, dude. So cool.
That's very cool. Yeah, you're gonna love that. Simpsons fans should definitely get into that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Hector, yours is allegedly. Wait, is yours the thing that we talked about?
Mine is just. I'm going to show you some cool stuff. Not necessarily the unboxing. I'm just going to pull things from over here and be like, look at this.
Surprise.
That works for me. Do you want to do it as it happens, or just bring them now? I'm cool with whatever.
I can bring them now. We can talk about it now.
All right, let's do that.
So let's start off with one that is just started shipping out to people, and I think I would love to talk about it a little bit. It's one of my favorite figures that we've done in a long time, and this character is one of my favorites. X-Men character, and it's Sabretooth.
Oh my god.
I just wanted to talk about this because it just started shipping, and I did open it because I wanted to check and make sure everything looked great. But it's one of those things where when we are doing this line, it's kind of like, yeah, we can go for the obvious characters, right? But doing Sabretooth for me and like the other people on the team, it was just a must. Like we had to knock Sabretooth out at some sooner than later because it's one of my favorite characters, and I think
that's right out of the show, man.
Alex,
awesome.
one of our in-house sculptors, Alex Brewer. I don't know if you may follow him. He does
Plastic 4.
Plastic 4.
I do follow. I know the name. I recognize the handle.
He works here at Mondo, and he did this for us, and he just knocked it out of the park. And then it's just such a cool figure, and it's big. It's just like a big piece, and
it's huge, you guys. Like whoever pre-ordered this thing, make some space.
How tall are you, Hector? Just so people have
scale. I'm like 5'10". So
okay, so me, so I can picture that. Yeah. What's the Sabretooth line you hear when you look at that toy? Do you have one? Because a lot of the stuff it's kind of like ingrained in your childhood. Do you have one?
No, I can't think of one right off the top of my head.
Remember when he says, "What's up, guys? It's me, Sabretooth. I'm here to mess shit up." Remember that part?
Must have been a DVD.
Yeah, it was an outtake, deep cut.
It's the outtakes for sure. No, what's funny is when we do these figures, I'll sit down and watch the episodes and stuff like that, and I'll watch them maybe 3 or 4 times each, just to pull little Easter eggs that maybe some folks may have no idea that we're doing or where it even comes from. Like you have to remember that episode.
I love that.
There's a scene in the episode where he gets captured, and he has this muzzle over his face.
Mm-hmm.
And before they take him back to the X Mansion or whatever it's called, and it's just one of those accessories that we had to include just for that very scene. It's like he wears it for maybe 5 minutes, if not a minute or so. But
yeah, it's like a little Hannibal Lecter mask.
Yeah. And speaking
That's
of
sweet.
which, I can show this off, which
This is big.
I don't know. Well, before that,
Okay.
I just got this in
Oh.
yesterday, and it's our first sample of this. And if there are Godzilla fans in the audience, I would love to show you this giant Godzilla James Groman piece.
Dude, it's
I don't know
so
if you all are familiar with James, but
That's huge.
he's like a just legend in the industry, and he worked with us on this figure. And this is already sold out. This colorway of it, but I just got the first like factory sample, and I just wanted to share it with somebody. I think I only showed Peter yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he comes with these swappable parts where you can basically make them look like this.
Oh darn!
Whoa.
Oh, that is detail beyond detail.
Yeah, look at that, man.
If you guys aren't familiar, look at that.
All
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
muscle striations in there, and the veins and everything, and it turned out so awesome.
It's one of the coolest things that we do at Mondo, in my opinion, is working with James Groman. Because if you're big toy collectors and toy geeks like us, and you might be familiar with his work, but if you're not, this guy, when we were kids, was designing Mad Balls, My Pet Monster, working on Barnyard Commandos, all the gross toys from our youth. He had a hand in it. And then he kind of had this like new era of his career pop off where he started doing, limited edition, hand painted designer toys that looked like that Godzilla and original monster designs, etc. Dude, people would fly in at conventions that I was at with him. People would fly in from China, Europe, whatever, all across the globe to get a raffle ticket, to get a chance to pay over $1,000 for one of his figures. And dude, I've seen grown men and women cry at his booth when they didn't win. And so now, like at Mondo, it's really cool. This is like what our second piece with Groman after Man
we
Thing.
did Man Thing with him last year.
We have Man Thing, Godzilla, and there's some more cool ones in the way. We talked about, we revealed the Demogorgon, right?
No, we did.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Demogorgon and a Werewolf by Night.
Oh, okay, so we
revealed that.
Yeah, I get nervous, but there's two more on the way, and these are all like super accessible for collectors compared to how it was to get his work in the past. So it's really exciting, and he is a titan in the industry and like one of those, founding fathers of the geek stuff that we love today. So it's really cool to be able to share that stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can see I can see and hear the excitement in Hector's voice when he's holding that that first sample up.
What's crazy about it is that James has been in the industry since we were all kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were all probably buying his stuff at some point. And he had never really done an official Godzilla, and it was always like his thing. He always wanted to do it. So I'm happy that we were able to give him that platform to not only do a Godzilla, but do it in his style. And credit to all the amazing folks at Toho and all that for letting us play around with the Godzilla design in that way, but respectfully, of course. But it was just, it does make me happy that we were able to do that and work with someone like him who's been in the industry for decades. It's just something, part of the special part of our job is working with artists like that. Last thing I'll show, and this was revealed at Comic-Con, but there hasn't been like a full like up close and look at it. And it's going to be, there will be news of its release very, 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 very soon, but I can talk about it here. And it is Omega Red.
Damn.
Bravo.
Dude, to me, it's the jewel of this collection so far of the X-Men 6 scale. Like this is,
but
full bendy tentacles. Everyone's screenshotting right now.
Yeah,
Heck
full bendy tentacles. They swap out with smaller tentacles.
And those have shading on it.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, in the show, like they all have the black shading on it to indicate that it's like metal or silver, right? Like a metallic. And so that's what most of the black in his suit is kind of meant to be. He's wearing like metal armor, but it was part of X-Men the animated series, so they did it with black. So that was something key that I really wanted to capture here, which was that's such an iconic look for him in the show. And yeah, man, I couldn't be. I said Sabretooth was my favorite, but I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I guess this is probably my favorite.
This one
Quickly
takes the cake.
dethroned.
Yeah.
You know what's
Dethroned
funny?
in the same episode.
One of the cool
And
thing
just
about
for
the
scale,
yeah,
he's
It's
just
big,
as
dude.
big as Sabretooth. So about 13 inches tall.
Beautiful.
Wow. So
Hey,
this
thanks,
is a
Derek.
toying around exclusive, I guess.
Yeah.
Reveal that is.
It's a reveal, yeah.
in hand. You know,
hand reveal.
one of the cool things about the job is that, like Hector was saying, is like we message each other back and forth and we talk all day about all the projects and stuff. And if he gets something in the mail from the factory, he sends me a picture, or if we get factory pictures from the factory, he sends, and there was a photo you sent me, dude. I don't know if you remember, that was Omega Red laying down flat, right? Like it was on a piece of white cardboard or paper, whatever it was. And I looked at the picture and I go, yeah, what is this? The box art? It's cool. Like, what is it? He goes, dude, that's the figure. I'm like, I went to my computer because I was on my phone. I went to the computer to open the picture and see a bit, because in my phone, dude, it looked like the art on the box, the paint is so convincing,
Right.
and with a white background, it looked, dude, it was brain breaking. It was brain breaking.
It was an illusion.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
and I
awesome.
think that the paint app that we do on the X-Men figures, is obviously to conjure the look of the show, which is 2D animation with all those cel shaded areas and the black inks and all that kind of stuff. But in my opinion, none of the figures so far really get to show it as well as Omega Red does, because of what Hector was saying, that chrome effect that really highlights the benefit of that paint app. So good, man.
I just saw someone say Nightcrawler and Colossus, and trust us. I mean, I know Colossus is on his, like, if it was if it was the next choice, if it was up to him, Colossus would be next.
I love
What about
Colossus and
powered
Nightcrawler.
down Colossus?
Yeah,
Powered down.
powered down. Yeah, in the tank top.
It's an exclusive.
That's the one I want.
Yeah.
Brings a poster rolled up and you just put it in your teenage bedroom.
Is there a photo of the accessories out there, or has it just been the figure that's been shown so far, or has it been announced yet?
The accessories haven't been
accessories
announced yet. No.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I was trying to look for one to throw it up on the screen.
No.
Wait till you see the head sculpts.
Oh my gosh!
Oh.
All right, so currently you have Gambit, Magneto, Dolverine, Sabretooth is up there, Jubilee, and you guys have something called like a timed exclusive for the uninitiated, like me. Just let people know, like, how does that work? Is it just a special version that comes out?
Mhm.
Well, I'm gonna stop talking and let you take over.
No, it's just basically what we do with our timed editions is we used to have something called the Mondo exclusive, and sometimes we do that. But basically, it is the Mondo exclusive figure. You can only get it through Mondo, and it comes with a lot more accessories. Sometimes it varies from release to release. Sometimes if we do like some of our He-Man stuff, they come with a lot more accessories than you would probably get at like for the regular edition, which is also an edition that we share with some of our other like partners like Sideshow and Big Bad Toy Store and stuff like that.
Mhm.
The timed edition is usually the one that everyone wants to get because it comes with the most accessories, it comes with the most stuff. And once we do a timed edition, it's over. Like we're never going to revisit
My God.
that version of it again. So, it's one of those things where we try to we do a regular edition. So folks who are new to Mondo, new to the line, have a way to get the figures and add to their collection. But we also do our timed editions for the folks who are just, been following us for a long time and give them a chance to get something special.
Like, if you're aware that we're dropping a figure, you have an extended window to go in. You don't have to like wake up super early or like pull over to the side of the road and cause chaos. If you're
just
just
keep
aware
driving.
of that release window, you can get it. That's the timed edition.
Very cool. DK and I, for silly reasons, like this Gambit accessory because we grew up watching a lot of Stephen Chow movies where he's like a gambler. Stephen Chow from like Kung Fu.
Yeah.
No, Shaolin Soccer and all that stuff, right? So he would do these crazy card tricks, and like that effect looks like that. So that's another reason that this Gambit is so cool.
And the effects that we get on these accessories, man, are so great. Like the Jubilee one, I think comes with some of the best effects
Unreal.
that I've ever seen on a figure. And let me tell you something. I'm gonna be totally transparent. I never cared about Jubilee like as a character in the show. I love the show. I mean, she's cool. I don't have anything against her. I just don't like whatever. I'm not. When they sent me this Jubilee figure, dude, I couldn't believe it because I grew up where female characters as toys always looked not great. Let's just be nice. There were, some of them looked bludgeoned, to be honest with you. This is the first time I've held like a 6 scale. I don't know, is that focusing? A 6 scale figure where she's like badass looking in all her head sculpts, but she still looks like a cute kid. Like, there's like all these aspects to it that were such a great achievement in terms of just figure execution, not to mention all the Easter eggs and the awesome accessories that showcase her powers. And by the way, like it holds up no problem. Like some of those accessories are so big, you're like, there's no way her arms are going to hold up. Dude, it's awesome. It's great. It's a great figure, man.
The bubble gum has cell shading. Okay.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
Yeah. We definitely try to keep it consistent. I think my favorite part of her is the treatment on the sunglasses.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that too. We talked about before we started how the different streams are it's kind of weird because everyone some channels do 1/6 scale, some channels do the Sofubi and vinyl, and then I was saying mine kind of started with toy photography. I used to do a lot of that, so a lot of the early guests were big names in toy photography that I knew over the years to come on and talk about toys. Now, when you look at the Mondo toys, these are packed out with accessories, which I think are great for toy photography. And that super long tie-in is that Brandon, who on Instagram as Batman the Articulated Series, one of the best. He his X-Men toy photography. He did trading cards from his stuff and doing a series of Batman cards. Super talented guy, and he recently got on to do the promo pics for your Batman line, which also looks incredible. Peter has Joker right there, probably one of the best things out there. He's done photography for Man-Bat and Phantasm, I believe, recently. I just want to say, you guys, whoever's in charge, I don't know if either of you are involved, or you can pass a message along. You picked like an awesome dude to do it, obviously, and I'm a huge believer that toy photography helps sell. Toys.
It's huge.
Yeah. I mean, Brandon has been amazing. He's such a great guy, and he's been photographing our stuff for fun for like a year, maybe, if not longer, right? And we've definitely noticed. And it was in fact one of our directors here who works at Mondo who was pointing it out, like, hey, we should hire him and bring him on board to do some of these Batman photos. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So we've been working with him. We worked with him on Man-Bat and on Phantasm, and I hope to keep giving him more Batman stuff because he just understands that property so well. And he's great. He's a great guy and super talented. And yeah, I agree. Toy photography is half the battle, right? I mean, especially when you're selling these figures online, right? And there's most of the time people don't have a chance to see them in person. Photography really speaks volumes, and if you have a talented eye behind a camera who knows how to capture it, it's just a tremendous like leg up, I guess, with your solicitation and your images that you're sharing, compared to anyone else. And I also shout out to Raul Barrero, who does all of our Masters of the Universe photography and that Jubilee that you were just pulling up right now. He's, I would say, one of the best in the industry, if not. He's
the Jordan of toy photography, in my opinion, dude. The guy built a 1/6 scale Castle Grayskull. We didn't ask for that. Did you ask for that, Hector?
No. He just
built a 1/6 scale Grayskull, and it's like a backdrop that all the Masters figures have like stood in front of it. Dude, it's so. We love the toy photography so much that we are involved in discussions right now to figure out how we bring those photos in print to collectors who have asked us a lot. Can we buy the photos? We want to have the photos up, near our collection room, et cetera, et cetera. So We love it, dude. We love that stuff.
Hell yeah. That's cool because you guys do the prints and the posters. I think that's a huge, like
Could
a
be
natural
cool, right?
progression for toy photographers,
Yeah.
like to see their work. A lot of them you see them print them out for shows and on display. So it's another art form, much like if another comic book artist were to draw something out.
Yeah, and it adds
and do-
dimension to your collection, like to have your favorite figures displayed, and then right behind it, like some great backdrop action sequence. So if you have a museum pose, you still have the dynamic action behind it, et cetera, et cetera.
Hector, I know you were you got some stuff to take care of tonight, but I really, really appreciate your time, taking some time out to come chat with us and showing off the Omega Red and some other characters. Hopefully, you can come back in the future and take a little more time. We can open up some toys. But thank you for being here.
Thank you. Hey, and sorry about ducking out early, but have to take
not at all.
But thank you all so much for having me. Thank you, Peter. Thank you. Nice to meet you both, first of all.
Yeah, you too.
And I appreciate it. And I'd love to come back.
Sweet. Thank you, and appreciate your time here. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Later, dude.
Yeah, you guys can follow.
Right.
I have Peter's Peter's ready.
Now
to
we can talk
shit.
some shit.
I have Peter's Instagram and YouTube and Hector's Instagram in the video description down below. So make sure you go follow, show some support always, and it's cool to see from the creative end of some of these toys. But hey, we have actually Brandon's actually in the chat. What's up, man?
Hey, yeah,
congratulations on your
stuff,
work.
man.
Like from the people that are off the top of my head, Sergeant Bananas doing stuff for Super 7, Trevor 1/6 Shooter doing it for the Four Horsemen, and like a dozen other toy lines out there. Like those companies have the right idea. This is a good way to make your toys look badass. Just convert into sales.
Yeah, it's crazy to think, like, if you were to think about toy photography in like the 90s, that's like the stuff from, like, I don't know, with our consumers catalog or Toys R Us catalogs, like for Christmas. It's just how static everything is, and
it was like
that's what's told
isometric
us,
views.
right? Yeah, it's always just straightforward. And now look at it in the recent, I don't know, 5, 6, 10 years. It's just toy photography is blown up,
dude. It's so great. It's both a nod to the collector community that we're all a part of, no matter if you make it or just collect it, and it's also a way to really broadcast that. I think all of us see these figures as art, and you just marvel at it when you have it in your hand, and it brings you such joy. So freezing those moments in time with those photos really highlight all of that.
I want to thank John Ho for the super sticker.
Smooth like butter.
Thank you so much, John. I don't know what the sticker is. It doesn't show up here, but I appreciate you, man. Thank you. I know we're a little bit behind in the chat, but Josh Brown says, need a coffee table book. I always love, I think the cool part is that you guys have the licenses and you have the, I guess, agreement with the artist, like that they put the photos out for you to do an art book, possibly to make it easier that way.
Well, we would never just do it, even though we legally own that stuff.
Right.
After we commission it, it would never be like that. Even when we have a piece of artwork that was created as a poster, and then years later, if there's a discussion, we want to use it as a puzzle, was at one point was a thing we were doing, or if it's going to become apparel, there's always like kick them a fee. Or if we want to use a piece of poster art for box art for a figure, which we do frequently, we kick them an extra fee, even though the work's done and we don't necessarily legally have to. It's just the right thing to do.
Yeah, respect for that.
I want to say real quick before we move on about Hector, because I say this all the time. I've told him, he's heard me say it. No, but seriously, the guy is, and I've met everybody in the industry at this point. Okay. He's fucking brilliant. He's brilliant. He's one of the hardest workers I've ever met in any business. Not just toys. And he's got this vision for everything, man. It's crazy. And he's super zen. Like, he's not like easily plussed or flustered about things. It's amazing to get to work with him, and it makes me just so happy because I am a fan of these figures even before I worked here. And now that I get to help and work on stuff, whether it's my stuff or stuff that is not anything to do with my artwork, the guy has put together an incredible team, but it's a small team, so he does a ton of it. And I just want to put that out there so people really know the guy's the man.
You could have said that to his face.
I've said it to him. He's heard it enough. He's heard it enough.
So you want to say it behind his back?
Yeah, talk shit.
I want to talk good stuff about him behind his back. All right,
Then he
I
goes
didn't
like
even.
this. He goes, oh, thanks, man. And no one needs to see that. It's not cool.
I do have some stuff to open tonight. I just wanted to give Hector a chance to show off, because he had to bounce early. But
you have a great piece to open.
This we have tonight. When I was in San Diego, I was able to attend the Hasbro event, and then they offered a selfie series for the people who were there. So I had this made up, and it just arrived today. So we're gonna be you are all and me are gonna be the first people to see this face. Should I do this? I'll show the other thing after.
Yeah, do it. I'm desperate to see this.
You've already seen somebody's selfie series this week.
Yeah, I saw Abby's on
Yes.
Toy Anxiety. I saw
And
Craig's.
Does this have the bubble wrap? I've seen people have bubble wrap. So I went
Oh,
with
the
Mando.
suspense is killing me.
Oh, sorry.
You went
I'm
with
actually
Mando. Good
pretending.
choice.
I went with Mando. What would you have gone with?
I would have gone Mando. I don't know. Was a Stormtrooper an option? It's
No.
one of those two. I'm not doing.
I think it was
anything else.
Mando, Jedi, or X-wing pilot.
That might have been it too. But yeah, Mando's probably my number one.
All right, here we go. Okay, the hair is the right color. That's good. Hair is very important to me. All right. So you sit down, they hand you a device, and you scan, you move it around. Did I move my head or did I move the phone? Doesn't matter. And then you
It's
scan
like the
it like
iPhone
2-3 times.
when you
Yeah.
first open. Yeah.
And then they send it off to someone with a resin printer in a factory. They print a whole bunch and paint it and send it to you. All right. So hair's looking good, right?
Okay.
Hair's pretty smooth.
Yeah,
Face?
brother.
Hey, it's
good.
it's not bad.
It's not bad.
Wait, hold on.
You gotta hold it up. Yeah. Okay.
The face
it's not
shape is
bad.
there.
It's not
Yeah.
bad.
Your hair's updated though right now.
Well, I
True.
gotta wait for 3.0.
It might be the
not.
best one I've seen so far.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, from the people I've seen, like in terms of getting close, I think they got your face structure. They got your jaw.
Yeah.
I
don't
think
know,
if
I
I was gonna do one thing, like to customize it to get a little closer, which is not an easy thing to do, I would try to make the pupils take up a little bit more space on the eye, like just slightly. Like, I mean, you have to get like a real. I wouldn't do it, but I'm like, if I'm gonna be nitpicking,
Kayla said more eyebrows.
let me see. Go back to the other camera again.
That's just called my face.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that a little bit more in the eyebrows.
Okay. For me, there's
DK, you've seen my face for many years.
I feel like I almost see your dad in this.
Yeah, but everyone says my dad looks just like me.
Yeah.
I did a
but
video.
I feel
Peter-
like this face sculpt looks more like your dad than you.
I did a video where I was waiting for my Mezco 89 Batman for so long, and in the video I aged up and I used my dad, and I did like the blurry screen, and I added my dad in, and people were like, was that a filter? Did you do like a prosthetic? And no,
That's
it was just
funny, dude.
that was just my dad.
Did
This
they
is
ever
not
ship
bad.
those?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
It was all right.
This one's good.
It's pretty good, dude.
It's good.
I'm happy with it. I'm
Yeah.
happy with it. I've only seen one other good one, and it's Rick. Rick, who's in the chat, Rick2345 from ACBA podcast. His is the best one I've seen.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I'm glad mine's close to there, because I would love to have Wait, am I just being vain that I want an action figure of myself?
No, dude,
No?
I'm desperate for one.
Right?
Yeah, I don't care.
So
I don't care. But I want one that kind of feels like those Gorillas figures. That it's like a little bit more,
Ooh, like stylized.
Oh,
Little
stylized.
bit.
Okay.
just a little something.
Yeah, I'm happy with this. This comes with a stand. I don't know if I'm gonna take this out. Would I take this?
Just take out the head. Just take out the head, and then you can swap it onto your other things.
Oh, that's a good point. Now, do they give you a helmet accessory just for fun?
My friend Jason roasted me. He said you chose a character who's known to not take off his helmet to be
That's
your
a good point.
selfie series.
Well, no, you
But
could be a different Mando.
I don't think he comes with one.
Oh, that would be even funnier if they shipped the selfie series with a helmet and not your face scan head. And it's like,
You know what's crazy? These are only going to get better. This is like the iPhone 3G,
Right.
of this. And Funko's got a version where you pop yourself now, which doesn't look anything really like you, but it still has a vibe of you, and people really love it. So I think it's just going to be a thing that companies start to do. Like, you'll get yourself as a Star Wars character, you'll get yourself as a Turtles character, which will be a totally different style. I think eventually it's all going to happen.
It's kind of like 3D printers, right? First they started off really expensive, but then as technology and things get cheaper and they manufacture it better, almost everyone has it in their house and you can get better quality year over year. So I mean, like I said, it's just a device that they have, like a phone that they scan right in front of you. They could probably develop that app, put more time into that, and then get ultimately a better scan against these are also somewhat mass produced, I guess. They put a whole bunch on a print bed and do them all at the same time.
If I was going to do this, first of all, if I had a YouTube channel I might just do this, to be honest with you, for my own channel, but I would get one every year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I would start to show and see if there's like any progress in the tech, you know what I mean? But, or like rescan every year. So like my figures get older too. And then that's one thing you could do for sure. And then I would also probably take one of the heads and send it to one of these like toy customizer repainters, whatever it is, and see how much closer they could get it. But it's pretty good, dude.
Yeah. I'm really happy with this. The more I look at it. So thank you, Hasbro. This was, it's something that they offered people who went to the event. But if I bought this one for me, like I'd be happy with this result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I think you came out on top. Craig's from Toy Anxiety looks like actor Richard Mazer. I don't know if you know that actor.
I heard you guys talking about it the other night.
Identical, honestly.
I also heard the part where you had the guy on from Howard Stern.
Oh, Ralph, yeah.
When they went back, they're like, "Oh, he went on this shitty YouTube."
Oh, dude, I got roasted. Yeah, by one of the writers on Howard. Luckily, Howard didn't pull the thread and go too much further, or I get roasted like publicly for. I was interviewed by the Stern Show because I did some artwork for a fake band that he has. It's a band, but it's not like I'm doing anything. But I did an album cover art for it, and so they interviewed me, and then they played the interview on the Stern Show. So I have a glowing debut. I don't want to ruin it with any of that. So yeah, I don't need that in my life. That's one of my biggest fandoms. It's never been merchandised.
Yeah.
Stern Show. Yeah.
Oh damn. I ordered something else too, and I figured we're going to be talking about this line. It would be cool to have something in hand.
Yeah, it's a work expense.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is the Mondo 1/6 scale Wolverine.
I love that box so much, man.
Is this Dan's Dan Wiesenmeyer's art?
Yep.
So there's sketches all the way around.
We work with him. We talk with him, and he's definitely he's always in communication for these boxes. Yeah.
Oh, that group shot.
It's crazy, dude. And each time we do one, we're pulling new artwork. Dude, wait till you see the Omega Red box. I'm not going to tell you anything else.
With extra special thanks to Eric. Those are the showrunners, right? Eric and Julia?
Eric Lewald, Julia Lewald, and then Jesse Falcon is our contact at Marvel, who basically signs off, says yes, this passes, et cetera, and he's like the keeper of the lore at Marvel. Here's a cool thing people don't know: like when you work on stuff like this, if you're gonna work, like they've shown off now a lot of Spider-Man 2, the video game for PlayStation, right? Mm-hmm. So months and months ago, we had a meeting with Marvel where they showed us everything about the game. Like I know how it ends. I know all that stuff in case we're developing product against it and want to start getting things ready that wouldn't have been shown at that point. So it's one of the cool perks of the job. And Jesse Falcon is the guy who will tell you everything. It's like story time.
I
how
can't
cool.
imagine how cool it is to see some of that stuff early.
It's a blessing and a curse, dude, because I'm a huge fan of that game series and I wanted to play it clean, and now it's
Mhm.
all spoiled.
Just recuse yourself from this process. Like, you get somebody else do this.
Yeah, right.
Here,
Oh,
this is
wow.
here it is.
You got the most important accessory in there, by the way.
The picture frame, of course.
Picture frame.
Yeah, it was cool that you guys did that convention exclusive in the bed too.
Oh, dude.
I think you guys were the first ones to put out the frame, this accessory, but also to do like this tableau packaging of Wolverine in the bed. I thought when I first saw it, it's brilliant, it makes sense, but is it bravery to say yes, this is what we're gonna package it as? But it was a convention exclusive, right?
I mean, yeah, like it was convention exclusive because it was convention season, but it was still a time where there was no cons happening. So,
Right.
but look, this is how it works. We literally sit and have meetings that feel quite like a YouTube show like this, and we have conversations around like, what should we do with this and that, and then if anything gets said that makes us either laugh because it's funny or laugh because it's nervous excitement, like I can't wait for people to see us pull this off. It's happening. The only way it won't happen is if if Marvel or something blocks it, but they have never done that. And so something like that box it's one of the things that Mondo can do and that we love to do because we know who the audience is. We know we're all about. There's nobody who's buying these for their kids. I mean, that I know of, and so it's meant to remind you and make you laugh and nostalgic about not only the actual show but the memes that have come up around the show, and it's a perk of the job, man. It's so fun.
Speaking of memes,
Exactly.
there's a great one. What does he say? He smacks Psych in the belly.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I love it, man. And it's also like when that first Wolverine came out, I was working with Mondo as an artist outside of the company, and designing figures and all that kind of stuff. But I wasn't in-house, and but those are the kind of things that at Mondo, like I said, we want to excite the fan base. We're the fan base, so if we get excited, we want everybody else to be excited. We think they will be. And when you support the stuff that we're doing, like it just fuels us. Like that figure doing well is why you have Omega Red. It's why you're going to have Rogue and Cyclops, because that first figure, Wolverine, coming out, if the fan base reacted like so to it, it would have kind of just nuked the line. We would have put out a Wolverine figure and moved on. But it popped off huge in a big way. And that just gave us the momentum and the fuel to say, all right, man, let's go. Let's get Magneto. Let's get Jubilee. Let's get everybody, ready to rock. Sabretooth.
Probably this line could keep going and going. And then, it's all the variations and characters, mutants. I mean, they even have a lot of crossover from other teams like X-Force, X-Factor. I don't know if those are on the table or whatnot, but, there are looks from the show that these characters that are on the show.
I mean, look at the extra head we packed in for Jubilee. That's a reference to another show. So it's like, or that moment where like she's got the elf look. It's like a tiny moment in the show. I mean, with these figures, also, I think when people start to put them up in their collection, let's say you've been collecting Marvel Legends, or if you've been getting diamond busts or whatever it is. You start to put these up and they have such a presence. And then when you start putting 2, 3 together, I was on a YouTube show called 6 Scale Mafia with Robert Meyer Burnett, who was on that day. I don't know if you guys know Robert Meyer Burnett, but he's on John Campia's show all the time. He's a really cool dude, collects 6 Scale. And he was talking about how there is no other way to accurately get the X-Men animated series in 6 Scale than to do it like this. But once you start putting them together on your shelf is when you realize, oh shit, it's like you're buying a set little by little, because they need to be a group. All those colors working together is crazy on your shelf, dude.
That's
know?
why I regretted saying anything about you and Michelangelo earlier this episode. I made a huge mistake, and
It is one of
is
those
awesome.
things, dude. It's hard to go back, man. I was a big Marvel Legend guy, dude. My first Marvel Legends were the Toy Biz Marvel Legends. Like I've been supporting that line for a long time, and when I started to get these, I'm like, it's just I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I know I'm biased and all that, but I just don't know what to say. Like it's that good. It stands apart, and if you're a collector and you have a collection room,
Look at that.
yeah, look at that.
This is the paint on the figure. This is not me turning it and the lights into here hitting it differently, but it seems that natural as I turn it. Like that's part of the deco on this morph head.
That's a beaut. That's an awesome head sculpt.
Oh, so if you can get like multiple Cyclopses and put
Morph
on,
can go on
like
anybody.
I'm assuming based on that the head pegs are swappable based on the characters. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But
I know Cheney from the Toy Migos is a huge fan of Morph, so I want to show this a few more seconds if he's in the chat. Of course. Hell yeah. All right,
by the way, I'm opening mine too. Is that okay?
Please do.
Yeah. So I bought this shit like Monday. I'm like, oh, man, I gotta wait till Thursday.
Sorry, I bought this Monday. If that helps.
No. I was stoked to do it. I wasn't gonna buy it, except I needed something to open on the show, and I'm like, ooh, what a terrible problem to have. And so I went to a local shop and I was able to pick it up. And I'm like, I've been looking for an excuse to have to buy it anyway. So no problem. I'm stoked.
So as you go through Mo, the X-Men line, you have there you go, pickled eggs. You have Sabretooth, Magneto, Jubilee, Gambit. Really great lineup. And of course, recently at PowerCon, some stuff was revealed.
Yeah, dude. Okay, I'm glad you brought this up.
Yeah,
we were finally able to reveal that Cyclops is already on the way.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, Cyclops to me is a staple. For whatever reason, when I think of X-Men the animated series, I really think of the game, the video game, the arcade game. Like that's the first thing that pops into my mind.
Okay.
And I used to always use Cyclops in that game. And I'm like, I can't wait for that guy to come out. And so like the laser blast effect is so freaking cool because it locks in, as you can see, like at the top, like it kind of locks into the visor right there. And so it's gonna just perfectly like rigid right there. You can swap it on different heads. It's got the articulation so you can get them in like that stand back blasting look. And then we got the jacket, which is it's a piece where you pop his arms off, you put on the jacket, and then you can swap the hands into the jacket. So it's like a whole extra piece as well. It's super cool, man.
Is that soft goods for the jacket or
no? It's like the well, I guess you don't have Jubilee there, but it's like this where it's like a softer plastic. Yeah.
Okay.
The thing with this line, and because we do use soft goods on our Motu line, but with Batman and with X-Men, there are certain things like this is a good example on Magneto. Let me remove this. But like that cape is such a Magneto signature look, and those shoulder bumps are such a signature look that I feel like it just works so much better as that soft plastic. It's almost like a rubbery feel. It's not, but it just has that soft PVC or whatever it is, and it also just makes it possible for you to keep that cell shaded look.
Yeah, I don't think a wired cape would be.
And I love a wired soft goods cape, dude. I love it. I love it, but I just don't think that's the move for these, personally. And
I'm trying to figure out how to take this out of the box.
By the way, since you have the box, isn't it crazy like how many like pieces come in that thing? Like I remember opening that for the first time. One of the coolest things about working at Mondo is when I got here, they sent me a bunch of the 6 scale stuff to look through. Every box was like 50,000 accessories. So cool.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like coming from, building up my collection and doing toy photography, looking at accessories is a huge part of what influences what I buy.
Yeah.
And so stuff like this, stuff like the Mo that you have in front of you, not
The
only
heads, dude.
is it not only is it nostalgic, but to have a whole panda come out of a box, you can be like,
I
Didi Mao,
know.
Didi Mao, like get out of here. He's like coming to scram out of the back of the bar.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this has got to be one of the best toy lines I've ever seen. The Simpsons toy line, and I love, you mentioned Kyle. I love Kyle. We talk all the time, and it's so awesome because I collect a lot of Super 7 like reaction stuff, the Toxic Avenger stuff. I love from them, and now this damn Simpsons line's got me, bro. And look, the little head on the pandas articulated so good. That could have just been a solid figure, and I would have been happy. But look at that; you got articulation.
Yeah,
and
it
the
could have just
legs
been one
too,
piece.
and the head. Yeah, it's a good piece. I would have bought that on its own.
And the Mo, all the different faces on him, they all work out really well,
Dude.
too.
This is also a difficult thing to translate because
Mhm.
when you're seeing these, my lights are so harsh. My wife usually sits on this chair during our stream, Gabby, and so she has these lights, I think, set for her liking, so but not for toy
Right.
photography. But yeah, like translating these faces into 3D when you don't ever usually see them from all angles. Like it looks good, it looks familiar from one angle, but from a different angle, it's like it could be really difficult, but it looks great from every angle. The Flamin' Mo is awesome. Let me see. There you go.
There it is. Oh, there's
And,
a big piece of tape on the back. That's why I couldn't pull this. Yank this out. Yeah, to translate a 2D animation to a three-dimensional figure and have it work in every angle I think is a huge feat.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're just it's a really fun toy company, like Super 7. Everything they put out just feels super fun. Like you're going to enjoy it. Now, I'm going to keep open. I don't want to bury the lead here because there's a pretty important day. Today is the last, almost the last day that you can pre-order this Mechagodzilla figure. Now, we were talking right before the show started, Kevin, and we're talking about Sofubi and how you started to learn more about it from the other toy collectors out there. Obviously, Jacob Walsh from Toy Anxiety is a big Sofubi guy.
Right.
But it's one of the joys of my life right now, being able to work at Mondo and design not only like kick-ass toys that we're all going to be into, but an original figure based on my art style. These linoleum block prints that I've sold as prints through Mondo with Marvel. I've done stuff. I've done stuff with Fox and Alien and Robotech. And so Toho has been so cool that they've allowed us to reinterpret Godzilla, now Mechagodzilla, in this linoleum block print style. And it's just this really cool addition to the to the pantheon, really, of like Sofubi. And Mondo's known for a ton of the Sofubi stuff that's out there right now doing really well. Like one of our latest releases is this Space Godzilla, which is such a beast of a figure with these giant space crystals on it, right? It's so freaking cool. This one's Hector designed, this one.
Nice.
And but Sofubi, if you didn't know, like for people who don't know, here's an old school one, not even the oldest of old school one, but I actually got this in Japan. I think if my memory serves me, or I've got a few from Japan. And then this one, actually, if you look at the bottom of the foot, so you can see, like this is from 1993, 91. So this one in 91 was already a throwback to toys that were designed in the 50s. And in Japan, they intentionally made them out of vinyl, and they made them so that you could like throw them around, like kids could mess with them and they wouldn't break or anything like that. And so the original kaiju figures like Godzilla and Ultraman, all that stuff, were in this style. And so now it's intentional. When you see the high-end premium Godzilla and kaiju collectibles come out, to be like these very upright figures. They're not dynamically posed or anything. Limited articulation, like shoulders, legs, maybe some tail twisting here and there. It's all and this one's unpainted, which is another way that collectors collect. They like the unpainted sculpts too, because they get to do their own paints on it. But this is all a nod to that 1950s engineering, designing soft vinyl figures in Japan for kids, right? And so when we designed Mechagodzilla, yeah, the art style is different, but it's meant to fit alongside those vintage figures that are very upright, vertical, limited articulation. Although mine's got a little bit more. It's got the shoulder joints that
Yeah,
turn.
you have hand.
Yeah, I got the wrist articulation, which is really cool because in the movie, I don't know if you guys have seen it, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, he raises his arm and flattens out his hand. These little fingers are missiles that fire out at Godzilla, so that's really cool. And then we gave him the head articulation that goes all the way around. Again, in the movie, he's able to like turn his head all the way around and fire at his rear, which is anybody at his rear, like behind him. And so at his rear. And so it's a really freaking cool figure. It's just crazy that they allow it because traditionally Toho is very protective of Godzilla, of all the IP. They don't just let anybody do whatever they want. And in recent years, they've opened it up a little bit. They allowed me to create this Godzilla statue, vinyl statue that came out in 2021. And we had no idea how this was going to do because it's so different.
Dude,
Right?
first of all, congratulations.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
It's so cool because on your channel, you mentioned earlier, you sculpt,
Carve.
What?
Yeah, I
Carve.
carve. Yeah, the linoleum blocks.
Linoleum
yeah,
blocks, right, which you use to press into posters.
Yeah, just making stamps.
Right. And so you do that live on your YouTube channel. You sometimes show it off on Instagram, which is super cool. But like it's like almost like the Mo figure, to translate that flat piece of art that you've done and to make it work with the shading and the details that you have, and to have it made from your own artwork. Like that must be an awesome feeling. And what the heck, man, it's the perfect timing for tonight's show.
Right? It's a freaking dream. I don't take it for granted. Like I tell people all the time. In 2019, I was in my 13th year of teaching art. Like I had been building Attack Peter as an art business since 2011, 2012. Little by little, just doing different conventions, mostly in Florida, Miami, Orlando, Tampa area. And then eventually I worked up the nerve to take all my work, which is handmade stuff. I can't ship it and have it printed at a FedEx or anything and just pick it up there. And started doing shows in California, New York, and meeting different companies. And then, here's a good example. Thanks, man, for pulling that up. People like Brian Flynn at Super 7, Sideshow, they all reached out and said, hey, we want to do something with you. And I got my first licensed gigs. And then little by little, I started getting more and more attention from companies. And I was able to get hired full time as an artist at Skybound Entertainment, Robert Kirkman's company, Invincible, Walking Dead, and all that. And so they basically just had me there as Attack Peter designing stuff. And then the pandemic, of course, happened. So we pivoted instead of doing conventions to doing YouTube shows. And that's how we started doing YouTube, which was really successful because it was a place to kind of eventize all the art drops and the art making, the designing. And that kind of stemmed out from being a teacher where you're making artwork on the spot for kids to see the process. And you can't screw it up. I mean, and if you do, you just have to explain that it happens, yada, yada, but you got to be able to talk and work and make sure no kids are throwing crazy shit around the classroom at the same time. And so, it just kind of all worked into this brand, I guess, where people are super excited and into hyper stylized versions of their favorite characters. And in this case, the second in a wave of Godzilla figures, so tomorrow Eastern time, 11:59 a.m. Eastern time, I believe is what I clocked, is the last minute to buy or pre-order your Mechagodzilla figure. And I've, you mentioned it, but I've gone on all the toy shows this week, including some of the kaiju collectors, because like I said, there are collectors that just collect Godzilla, Ultraman, soft vinyl. That's it. They're very much into that. But I've also wanted to go out and talk to all my friends on the other shows, because I am a toy collector that has a little bit of everything. Like we were talking about in the beginning of the show, I even collect Halloween masks. You know what I'm saying? Like I love a little bit of everything in my room. And if ever there was an entry point to some kaiju soft vinyl to kind of get a feel for what it is, and truly the presence it has on your shelf, not just because it's this black and white motif that looks like it's a illustration come to life, but it just feels like a different thing on your shelf. And a lot of people have started collecting Sofubi after getting a few of my pieces because it's very much a fun thing to hold. It feels like high art, but it's not as fragile or precious as other figures might be.
So I want to shout out that tail.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you're holding it, like that detail on that tail
crazy.
is amazing. Like
the sculptor,
I really
Tufan
like this.
Caesar, who's been working with Mondo for a while on a bunch of stuff. He sculpted my my Godzilla on this. Dude, he's got a hard task because the sketches that I provide, they're really like they need to be interpreted in 3D because they're from a carving, you know? And so we do a lot of work figuring out the balance, the form, the silhouette, how much of the original Mechagodzilla figure design, I should say, needs to come through. So it feels like a tribute and not a total departure. And how do you take just two colors, black and white, and communicate like the iridescence of metal, for example? Like you see it around his belly where there's alternating patterns of black and white here, and they're meant to work. There you go. They're meant to work the way metal does. It kind of like it shines and like there's dark and light all over the
like
place. That's what makes it feel like metal. And so all those things are really a team collaborative effort between Hector and myself for sure. Then, you know, our sculptor Tufan Caesar, who's amazing. And then actually Hector's wife, Hillary, painted the prototype that we sent to the factory. And she's painted a few of the figures. Yeah. And that's another crazy challenge because when you get this guy in hand, or if you look at some of the close-up shots, there are so many quick changes from black to white, and you need crisp lines, and nothing stains white more than black. You know what I mean? So like if you mess up that paint app, it just kills the figure. And so luckily they've been able to nail it, and we've got something really unique as a toy collector. I'm proud of how much it stands apart from other things out there.
Yeah, this definitely is a standout piece on a display. I think looking at this Wolverine too. This is stuff that when you put on your shelf, because the size is probably going to draw someone's attention to it first.
In a big way.
And then, you know, the contrast with the black and the white on this Mechagodzilla, or the bright colors of a Wolverine or a bunch of X-Men. I think it's really eye-catching. But honestly, congratulations. Thanks, thing is cool. You can go to mondoshop.com.
Yes.
Now until tomorrow at
what did it say there?
12 p.m. CT.
Central time. Oh, so it's 12:59 Eastern time.
Right.
But it's the early part of the day. It's not 12 midnight. Just everybody's not.
Oh no, wait, until 11:59 a.m. Central
there you
time.
Go. There you go.
And then afterwards, so this is the timed edition.
There will not be a regular edition or no, that's it. It's it. It's super limited. It is what it is, and when it's gone, it's gone. And the interesting thing about it is when I first released Godzilla a couple of years ago, it was like a week, same thing, kind of like the same. And I feel like, man, nobody who wanted this is missing it because there's so much time. I'm super annoying on the internet, like reminding everybody every 5 seconds. So everybody who wanted one got one. What I didn't anticipate is how many people were going to discover the work after the fact, you know, discover my artwork after the fact. I thought, you know, maybe I had peaked in who was going to care about my work. And dude, to this day, people are trying to find the first one. And it was on eBay a little bit. Like a year ago, you could find one here and there, not too crazy in pricing, but now it's like if you find one, you know, it's rare. It's like everybody who kind of has it wants to keep it, it seems. And so I think it's just one of those pieces that, you know, over time you're lucky to have known about it, type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
But if you're getting this guy and thinking, oh man, but I'm never gonna have a Godzilla to face off against him because that one sold out. We're already working on the Godzilla that matches this size because look, look at this. This was a statue of a part of a different line called Godzilla Museum. So there were little 8-inch statues. Look at that.
Whew.
This guy's a big boy.
Yeah, heck
this guy's a big boy. He hangs out with Joker. Look.
Nice. Yeah. Peter, here's a nerd question.
Yeah.
When you mentioned that Mechagodzilla, his fingers had rockets.
Yes.
Who did that first? Dragon Zord, Power Rangers?
Godzilla, dude.
Godzilla.
because that movie
Predates-
came out in 1974.
Okay.
But you know, Power Rangers is an extension of all those movies, tokusatsu movies. So Man in a Suit,
Yeah.
right? Like Goldar and all those. I mean, when we were watching Power Rangers as kids, we were basically watching Ultraman redone. Like if you've never seen Ultraman and if you're a fan of Power Rangers and you've never seen Ultraman, dude, go watch a 1960s era Ultraman. I'll tell you what, it is the best because it's little 30-minute episodes, new monster every episode. And Ultraman is not sitting back and shooting the lasers at people. Dude, Ultraman will choke you out, bro.
Yeah.
And he'll
Yes,
suplex
yes.
you. He'll beat the shit out of you. It's so like unforgiving, dude. And the cast on the Ultraman show is awesome. It's like Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine like energy, and they're like always like they're called the Science Patrol. I'm just telling anybody out there, if you've never watched Ultraman, it's like a Saturday morning cartoon vibe with awesome monster designs and great sets, like cool retro sound effects. Super awesome, yeah. And you can watch it with your kids, no problems. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, they'll
speaking
be super
of
into it, dude.
The finger rockets. I don't know if you saw the Super 7 Ultimates Dragon Zord that has that effect where all the missiles are coming out and there's a trail of smoke.
Yeah.
Props to Kyle and the team for that one too.
Dude, Kyle is one of those guys who takes this stuff super seriously, like we do. You know, it's like
a little too much.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like it you know, he cares a lot, you know, and so he's gonna spend every last second thinking about every last detail. And yeah, man, he's a real one.
Oh, you know what? That reminds me. I was at Designer Con. Was it 2021 or 2020? And I went with him to the Mondo booth. And he introduced
it was
me to
2021 then, because 2020 didn't happen. 2021 was Mondo had like a small little booth.
Yeah. And there's like, well, I'm basically describing every convention booth, but there's like there's a standing glass display. With a lot of the Godzilla. Sofubi there.
That's where this one debuted.
Me to some people there, but
that's where this one debuted. It was so crazy. It was the first time I got to see it in person. Was at that decon. It was such a crazy moment too, right? Like that was like the first real convention out of the pandemic. It was smaller than it usually was, so it was packed. It was crazy.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you were at that booth?
Yeah, I was there. I released a print that weekend, and I did a signing as well. And then, like I said, we debuted the figure there, so everybody wanted to take pictures of it. It was really cool, man. It was, dude, I'll tell you, like I still feel like this is all a big episode of Punk'd. Like I literally conjured a version of my life that I wanted to exist, which was, can I work for a company that makes toys? Dude, I remember being in college, and I say all this, by the way, and I talk about this stuff when I talk about the figures, by the way, because of how weird they are and how unusual they are. If you have a goal that feels a little outside of the realm of possibility, just keep in mind, I was a teacher for 13 years. I had no resume experience that would have qualified me for any of these positions. And the only way I was able to get into this business in an official capacity was I started making unusual art for the pop culture world. Like printmaking exists, all over the art world, but in pop culture at conventions, there was none of it. And so I said, well, I'm going to just try doing that, and then it picked up steam and got, attention of these companies. And then when it came down to saying, hey, can I work with you guys? Like, behind the scenes and make stuff that's not my artwork, they're like, yeah, dude, and so this whole thing is proof that weird shit can happen. And if you're a hard worker and you're persistent and you're nice to people, right, and you build relationships with people,
absolutely,
crazy shit happens, dude.
Yeah, I think there was a panel at San Diego Comic-Con. They were talking about getting into the toy industry, and a lot of that was just being kind and who will name drop you when something is available, when something comes up,
and figure out what your what you can offer. If you can't sculpt, that's okay. If you can't paint, that's okay. Like, what do you do well, and how does it fit to the business? You will get in.
Uh, Mario says, "Sweet baby DK." That phrase has never been muttered in the history of English. He says, "I must resist." Yeah, you're a
Yeah.
sweet kid.
Yay.
Again, so a lot of the times when a toy is made with the intention of it being like an art collectible or whatnot, there are people who collect for like articulation junkies, which is fine, like its own
Yeah.
thing. It's like they want to know how things work,
Yeah.
and if it meets the needs of what they want, whether it's photography or posing or how they display it. Again, so this dude comes with 2 masked heads, 1 unmasked Logan head, and 1 morph head. You got some good range here. The shoulder, I want to show the bicep because that is something that you don't see a lot in like 1/12 scale figures. So your shoulder moves in here. And is it safe to assume this kind of joint was chosen to, maintain like the aesthetic
Totally.
of like a silhouette? I think that's done a lot in
Because that's the
more
trade-off
designer
with
toys. Yeah.
Yes, and that's the trade-off. It's like, how do you get the articulation that allows you to get the poses you expect to get as a collector, and then maintain as much of the silhouette as possible? It's and our sculptors, Alex, he talked about Alex. We have another sculptor, Tommy Hodges. Both of those guys spend like a lot of time thinking about this kind of stuff. Like, conversations happen around joints,
Mhm. People get very finicky and protective about what kind of joints are on their toy, which is understandable.
Yeah, dude. And we and they are collectors too, so they bring their own collector biases to the job, right? And so there's always discussions around like, what is optimum, what would be the best case scenario, what works for the figure, what might work differently for a different character in the same line, right? And at what point does articulation sacrifice the look of the figure, and how much of that are we okay with, and how much of that are we rather not get into? Yeah, man, it's just really cool. The best compliment I can pay it is when I opened it, I wasn't thinking about it. Like, I was just able to do what I wanted to do, and it looked the way I wanted to look. It didn't plus me at all. So
right,
that's cool.
So this is very interesting. So the break, the break is right here, right below the bicep, and that's where the turn is at the elbow to give it that rotation. And then it's almost like, if you look at Marvel Legends, people are very familiar with the double jointed system that's there. This is just like a half.
Yeah.
So it starts right below there, and then you're still able to get this range here.
Yeah.
For your elbow bend, for people who are curious.
Yeah, man.
Steve Morrow says, maybe I missed it. Is the sculpting still by hand or digital?
It's digital. We were working the last of the clay sculptures were some that James Groman was doing for us. And then we would scan them in. Ultimately, even if it's done in clay, it gets scanned, and then any adjustments that need to be made, whether it's aesthetic choices or something in the engineering side of things, that happens digitally. But now even James Groman, who's been sculpting by hand his whole life, and he's not young, let's be honest.
I think it's really cool. People who've been doing that for so long can move to digital. Meanwhile, my parents can't like use a cell phone.
Yeah, no. The cool thing about James Groman is he refused to be left behind, and I actually took a sculpting class with him, a remote sculpting class that was taught by Dave Igo, who now is one of the creative directors over at Tweeterhead. They do a lot of the big statues, that life-size Skeletor and He-Man statue busts and stuff like that. So he teaches a class. If anybody ever wants to learn how to sculpt, he teaches an amazing class. It's like a Saturday morning or afternoon or lunchtime class for like 2 months, I think, every Saturday. Dude, you come out of there learning a lot. So Dave Igo, dude, shout out. He's the man. Yep, yeah. Josh, he just said Dave's the man. He is the man.
This is like a double jointed knee. Pretty good range here.
Mhm.
And does this moves up a little, down, and a little bit of a swivel here. Yeah, this thing is solid. So it's like a really big action figure. It's like a really big
Totally.
X-Men action figure. But if you pose it on your shelf, it's like, you know, not
Yeah.
quite a hot toy, not quite a statue, but definitely a big boy.
Yeah, I think that it has the playability that of like a figure that you would expect at the 112 scale, but it has the presence of, like you said, a statue or a hot toy in terms of the size and scale. This is a cool figure. You remember this from the
This is
intro of the show?
insane. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude, DK, they're full clawed hands that you swap out to go into the arms to get the effect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think other company made like that this effect, right?
I don't think so. And that's what Hector
Mezco
was
made
talking
some
about. That
slash it. Yeah.
yeah.
Regal Tech did a slash one,
But
I
it's not
remember that.
this.
Yeah, it's
specific,
not this one. Yeah,
arc,
yeah.
I don't
Because that's
This
that
one's like-
moment where it's like, right?
It's the intro,
Yeah.
right? Like,
The
796
iconic
Studios. If you want to take the classes, look up Dave Igo, which is last name is IGO. You can look him up on Facebook or Instagram. And the program, Sculpt Viper Tommy says ZBrush. That's exactly what he teaches.
Nice.
And it's a surprisingly like not a heavy program in terms of like most computers can run it.
I think Mario 796 bought that and hasn't used it. So this is a good reason to sorry for calling you out, dude.
but yeah,
that's
it's
what we
really
do.
cool.
This is again, to add on top of another eye-catching piece, this is really cool.
And again, like it invites you to swap out the looks every so often. And I will say, I'm guilty. I'm a museum poser for the most part. Like I pick like a pretty static pose, and I just kind of leave them. Like when I have a few Star Wars Hot Toys figures, and also a lot of the Hot Toys faces as incredible. They're literally incredible, like shrunken down people, but they don't always have an expression that makes sense with a dynamic pose. So because we're including multiple head sculpts, which I hope is a thing that Hot Toys, steals from us soon, because I want more head sculpts. Is you can get a head sculpt that makes sense with a museum pose, or you can get a head sculpt that makes sense with a dynamic action pose in terms of the facial expression. So that's pretty cool.
DK, can you put that
like
Cyclops back up? I think talking about the expression, I want to show the Cyclops too. I think
yeah.
Do you have one to zoom in there? Because I understand what you mean. The museum pose, you have the stoic regular face, but if you want an action pose, you want something more animated and vice versa. So
yeah, and there's no way to do that unless you're packing in multiple heads. And I get it, dude. I get that those Hot Toys heads must be expensive to produce. But I just wish I could get like a rage face for my, like I got that Luke Skywalker that recently came out from Mando, the one where he's like from the last episode of the second season, and I want to do like a kick-ass, like, and I get it, he's stoic too, so it kind of works, but I would just like a little bit of an eyebrow raise.
Oh,
but there you go. You see, like you got the expression on the head with the hair, and you have an expression in that the one with I forget the reference that it's from, but yeah, with the hooded head there.
Oh yeah, it's just a different version of his costume. So this thing is soft.
Yeah, it's forgiving. Like if you need to move the arms around, you're not gonna break it.
Yeah, I'm showing it to people here. You can move it around, pose it.
Yeah.
That's super cool. So Cyclops comes with 3 optic blasts. Still need that, dude. What's the lower one there? He shoots like 4 people.
Yeah, so you got like that one's like like he's shooting, like he's moving, like ting 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 ting, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it fades. The paint will fade, so it looks like
you can see that kind of gradient.
That's a toy photographer piece, right?
Yeah, hell yeah. Does that mean you need to buy Magneto, Sabretooth, Omega Red, and have Cyclops? I mean, Cyclops, that's pretty bold. Do you think you could really take all of them out? Come on.
That just means that eventually we got to do like Danger Room props and stuff.
Ooh, interesting.
I would like it. I'm not confirming anything.
Of course not. Confirmed.
Confirmed.
Confirmed. I like the huge optic blast. I always try to get Cyclops, and there used to be this trading card where he's just like kneeling, one knee up. His arms are like this, and he's shooting an optic blast right into the air. It's like an old Fleer.
Yeah, the X-Men cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, those I used to love those. I always talk about the Marvel Series 2 cards, which are the ones that like the original Marvel cards. Then there was Series 2, which Art Adams did a lot of the drawings, and it was like I carried it around everywhere. It was like I was studying it. Yeah.
So announced alongside Cyclops at PowerCon. Shoutouts to Power of X-Men for posting these. We have a Rogue to go with your Gambit if you are a fan of that power couple. Just 4 heads total.
Yeah, so we got.
Oh my goodness! Look at the bottom.
Those are. I think those are in addition to the one that she comes with, so it might be 5.
Oh,
total
it's 5.
there. Yeah, so 5 there, and of course one of them is the X-Men Evolution head, which it's not even the same show, but thank the people at Marvel and Alex Brewer, our sculptor, who is the #1 Rogue fan. We have that in there, and what's really exciting about this figure is you'll see like we are including a detached Sentinel head as the base that she stands on, and that
Unreal.
right there to me, with my taste for X-Men, I gotta have that. I love the Sentinel.
Mm-hmm. Remember when the Toy Biz Legends had those bases, the Sentinel ones?
Yep,
those were when I first got into collecting. I'm like, I gotta collect all of these. It's just an easy prop. She's crushing somebody's blaster there. One single ungloved hand. What's the head on the top? It's on her eyes?
I gotta pull that one up again up close. I forgot, but I can figure it out real quick. Let me see here.
They look like heart eye, like a heart eye emoji or something. That's the first thing that comes to mind. But
that's what I thought.
Can't be right.
Let me ask real quick. I'm asking Hector right now.
Did she ever wear sunglasses? Noted.
Anyone in the chat know? It's a race. A race. So you have the Batman TAS line. The Mr. Freeze is one of the coolest looking things I've heard.
Yes.
I've heard you guys talking about it on, I think, Dole's show. Adding the frost to the helmet as a detail for Mr. Freeze. What else is there? Man Bats, Joker, Harley. Is that Harley out yet?
Harley sold out, yeah, but
right.
It was out. Oh, it's when she takes Cyclops powers. That's what it is.
Oh, nice.
Because remember, she absorbs people's powers.
Yeah. Thank you, Hector.
Yes, Hector chimed in with that.
And the hair looks crazy on that. I would love.
It's episode 2 or 3. That's what he said.
There you go. Oh, Luis is in the chat, says absorb Cyclops' powers.
There it is.
There you go. Cyclops give her, yes, in the battle, and then he has to give her. He has ruby quartz glasses.
Yeah, X-Men 97 got delayed to 24. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Wicked Fat Collectibles, because I've mentioned this in the past. Because I look at trends, and I look at collecting trends, and I look at how many times people say, I wish I didn't skip this, or I wish I didn't miss that. Like I hear that all the time. I've done it. You know what I mean? Like I've skipped a figure, like I was on the fence about. Nowadays, like if I'm even remotely interested in something, I will pre-order it. And if by the time it comes out, I'm not feeling it anymore, I'll just cancel it. Yeah. I don't want to lose the opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that calls to mind our character. Major FOMO,
dude.
There you go.
The X-Men 97 show, assuming it's of the caliber of the original X-Men animated series, I believe when that comes out is going to send people looking for figures in this line that are no longer available. And so I say that I'm taking my Mondo hat off and putting my FOMO collector hat on, and I'm saying, if you're on the fence, unlike other figures, these don't get produced at those big numbers. They don't go to market, they don't go to Targets, they don't go to Walmarts. So they're the amount that we make is strictly based on the amount of the pre-orders that come in.
Well, premature. Sorry.
No, I'm ready.
So
but yeah,
Omega,
so I just say that because X-Men 97, dude, they wouldn't bring that back if they didn't do it awesome.
yeah,
It wouldn't tarnish the brand.
it's you want it to be as good as you remember it, but sometimes something like that from when you grew up, you kind of romanticize it in your head, and
Yes.
then you go back and you watch, TMNT, and it's like, oh,
Right?
this wasn't that great, but I'm gonna stop now before it ruins it for me.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
still
yeah.
love it.
Yeah,
I still
yeah.
love it, and I hope that it's the same caliber, like you said. But Omega Red was announced, and Hector very graciously showed us a sample of it earlier, or
That's
whatever.
a production sample. That
Production.
means that's literally the one you guys will get.
Incredible. But not only that, to round out my top three, I mentioned in the beginning, Batman, X-Men, and Spider-Man. You also revealed this is unreal.
Dude,
Animated
I'm
series
so
1/6.
hyped on this one.
Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
I'm so
What the
hyped
heck?
on this one. When I started working at Mondo in November, we were at DCon last year, and immediately when we were just looking at the X-Men stuff we had and the Batman stuff, we're like, dude, why don't we go after Spider-Man?
Mhm.
Like, why don't we ask if we can do it? And at first it was like, how many non-X-Men characters were in the X-Men animated show, and can we get away with that? And then I just said, dude, like, Hector and I were talking, and we're like, like, we're doing justice to these figures. Like, we're making them really cool. People are really happy with them.
Absolutely.
Why don't we just go and ask and say, hey, can we kick off Spider-Man animated in 1/6? Because as a collector, I know they were separate shows, but I used to have them all hanging out in my shelf as a kid, like all my figures,
The
X-Men,
same
Spider-Man.
universe.
Yep.
So, and not only that, these these shows feel like they fit together aesthetically too.
They had
Exactly. You can't see these without the song playing.
Mhm.
And so, when we went to Marvel and asked them and say, hey, this is our pitch, what do you think? They're like, absolutely. And yeah, dude, figure report. I want a J. Jonah Jameson figure in this
With
line.
a desk.
Dude, believe me, there are figures that I have on a list of every line. I'm like, the mission is to make sure we do well enough that we get to this figure right here, in my head. And so I'm always driving towards that. But like, so when Marvel approved it, we put these sculpts together. These are the actual sculpts, right? So as much as our other figures look like the show, this is going to pop off the screen, dude. And so the Peter Parker sculpt is spot on. I've had a chance to look at it, from all angles. It looks amazing. But the accessories, dude, the accessories are so crazy. I mean, you got the stuff that you want, that you expect, like the web, the swinging web, the splatter web. The Green Goblin mask that you can have him hold is awesome.
That's
The
crazy.
unmasked Spider-Man in his hand, where he's Peter Parker head. But, and I don't know if you guys know this, the portrait of MJ, our sculptor, Alex, Plastic 4, who's a literal psycho, actually sculpted a full MJ so that figure, so that accessory feels like it matches the figures instead of just having a little drawing in there.
Wait. So sorry. Let me try to see if I'm understanding this. He sculpted an MJ figure so that portrait looks like the figure and not that.
Dude, it's crazy. There's a full MJ figure. In other words, hopefully
ready to rock.
No, hopefully like these Spider-Man figures do as well as I think they're gonna do, and we'll have an MJ ready. Because to me, you gotta have MJ. You don't have MJ, it's not a real Spider-Man line. And like a good MJ, because like I was saying before, I remember 90s toys. There was something about women figures that they really couldn't always nail. Like I love my Storm, and but there's most figures. This guy sculpts women so well that it's a crime if we don't get this figure.
I think one of the cool accessories there, the camera with the web.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've seen toys come with that before, but a staple. That's how he gets photos of Spider-Man. Nobody's curious. Nobody's curious how he gets these angles, Peter Parker. But yeah, it's
just so good.
This is crazy.
I love that I work for the company where I'm like, I can I don't have any problem like just touting it. I'm like, so fucking, I just can't wait for it, dude. I can't wait for this, man. I'm trying to. Right now, just so you know, internally, I'm leading a charge to make sure that whatever we do with the packaging, we got those purples, those yellows that you remember from the figure line. So, it's a passion project for sure.
This should be a no-brainer. I think if the X-Men line does well, this is as popular, as iconic as the Batman animated look or your X-Men stuff. This this is just kicking off another branch for the company. This is really cool.
Yeah, totally. And I think this is one of those figures like the Wolverine you got. I mean, we're joking like now you want the line, but realistically, that is a standalone piece. Like you could have a cool Wolverine in our Masters of the Universe line. A lot of people got a Skeletor who didn't have the rest of the figures because Skeletor is one of those figures that just feels like a toy collector would have a Skeletor at some point, you know, and it's basically like a Grim Reaper character. You can't go wrong. So there's there's characters in each line that I think could stand alone, even if you don't have intentions of getting more accessories.
Damn. Does that mean I could stop here?
You could try.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 hands in total. Drumstick, which is
I love that damn drumstick disc.
just very, very cartoony. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it really works, man.
Did he sculpt a full size? No, this
no, that one's actually because we wanted to capture the meme, right? So
yeah.
And by the way, no one expected Alex to do that. No one told him to do that. He just felt it was the right thing to do, and we're like, holy shit! All right, fucking awesome.
Just talk about making yourself valuable to the company. It's like, hey, I have an extra figure ready to go. Like that's the dedication.
But he's also a super fan too, you know, and like
right.
And that's what it's so great about this team that Hector's assembled is like everybody is really concerned with every part of this process. You know, everybody would be mortified to put something out that wasn't exceptional, you know, and doesn't meet the expectations. If you say you're going to do X-Men animated, the fans will give you a chance, but you can't do some whack shit. It has to feel right. It has to.
You can't come out half-assed because it's such a beloved show.
That's it.
For people, right? You don't want it. Yeah, I don't think this is full ass for sure.
Yeah,
anybody
you guys
like
are knocking out the park.
Oh well, thanks, dude. I appreciate you saying it. You know, we definitely put the effort in, and you know, to what you're saying, Kevin, is 100% accurate. Like anybody now in the past or in the future who works on any of these characters, you're like a temporary steward of our modern mythology. You know what I mean? Like doing a half-assed take on this is almost disrespectful to the fact that we all grew up with these characters. You get a lot of morality tales in these shows. You know, X-Men, the animated series, was heady for kids. Like it's a lot of sociopolitical topics that were rendered through the lens of superheroes and mutants and all that. So it's important to people, and you got to treat it as such. And luckily, the team feels that way too.
Like even me just haphazardly putting this on a slight angle. If I just remove myself, like this is a cool picture.
Yeah,
with that accessory for Wolverine, you know, it's just a little bit cut off out of frame, but you know what's going on. Like,
yeah, dude.
If I separated the background a little bit more,
done.
This looks awesome.
I think so, and I think that those textures, the cell shading, like we're talking about, it lends itself to photography for the reason you were talking about with Morph. Like you turn it and you're like, it's kind of brain breaking until you have it in person, you know?
Yeah, kind of like when you thought the figure itself was just a drawing.
I'm gonna find that picture because I keep talking about it and see if we can post it because it is one of those weird things, man. It's like one of those like remember Magic Eye? It's like that's how it felt like.
I've never gotten one of those to work.
No, me neither. It's all.
DK, have you?
It has to be a scam.
Nope.
Like I was at a party, is in the washroom. I took my shirt off and everything to try to get it to work.
What?
No,
why?
That was a Seinfeld. That happened on Seinfeld. Yeah. Figure report. Mikey asks, will Spider-Man have that two-tone color shading also?
Yeah, it's got to match up. It's got to match up with the cell shading. You know, an interesting thing, and some people had mentioned this in the past, is that they like some people out there, while they respect the figure line, they're not interested in collecting the cell shaded look. It's just not their taste. And I get it, totally get it. So for the first time this year for Comic-Con, we put out it's called the Uncanny variant of Magneto, and it's still available on our site. Like there's still something that you can get. It's got a different paint app, and it looks like a totally different figure. It's got more chromes in the helmet, more metallic tones. It's got a different like satin finish on the body there. It's the one with the purple ring. So if you scroll down, you'll see it. I think there, it's that middle one. There you go.
SDCC one.
Yeah. So that one, same sculpt, but it's painted differently, and it was meant to just be like, let's see what people think. People at Comic-Con, it sold out at Comic-Con at the convention. We still have a few on the site, but you can see like it's got a different head sculpt with the blacked out face. That's more of a tribute to the comic. And yeah, it's got like this satin finish on the body, and then the helmets have that chrome look. You know, and then the different head sculpts that are exclusive to it, and then the rings, the magnetic rings. Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys know this. This is my favorite part of this figure. Is it's Magneto, and he actually has magnetic features.
Nice. I always
and to
love
me,
that
like that presence, dude. That presence feels like a Jack Kirby drawing. Like it's like ready to rock right there.
Oh, I like that specific one with the shaded eyes.
Oh yeah,
that head sculpt.
Right. So that one's exclusive to this version. I don't know if that one's still available. No, that one sold out.
You're doing some shopping? Mario's doing some shopping.
Wait. Oh yeah, you can still get the regular version, which does have these eyes.
Ooh, that's the one.
Yep. And this guy's big, dude. He towers over everybody else. He's my favorite in the available figures right now for sure. Like the ones that have come out, he's my favorite so far. We'll see when I get that Gambit in hand and I get that Sabretooth and Omega Red. But right now, he's my favorite.
Yes.
I bet you're excited to get yours soon.
Yes, it's perfect.
Do a few more questions, and then I think we can call it. I guess it's almost almost at the 2-hour mark, but you know, I think people are really enjoying that.
Totally, I'm here.
Questions for you. 796 Studio says, if I jump in now, will I be claiming all Mondo enabler points going forward? That's right. Every dollar spent on Mondo in the future, I will collect enabler points, which means whoever has the most enabler points at the end of the year, bragging rights.
Oh no shit!
To get other people to buy stuff.
I like that.
Let's see. There's another one there. Derek Koto, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. That's a new name in the chat. It says in Toronto, so respect to the Jays hat. DK, hell yeah.
Yee. Thank you.
The candy apple red helmet is amazing.
It definitely changes the whole look of the figure. Shout out Ryan Dole.
It's a different type of clean.
Yeah,
like that SDCC version.
I love the blacked out face because I remember those comics, like when they would draw them that way. I just love that feeling.
Batman, you have animated series, Batman, Joker, Catwoman, Man-Bat.
I couldn't believe that Man-Bat sold out so fast, dude, because that was one of those figures where like, okay, either this is the greatest figure, and this is my favorite one in the line. Either this is the greatest figure we put out in this line, or it's the jump the shark moment because the wingspan is massive. Like the wingspan, dude, is almost 3 feet, dude.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I mean, there's two sets of wings. There you go. 34 inches. There's two sets of wings. So you can have the 34-inch, splayed out wings like that. But there's also a set of folded wings, which is probably how I'll display it just so I can freaking make sense of my collection. And he actually kind of has a little bit more mood in this pose. That comes with like the torn white t-shirt, and there's a head sculpt on it that's kind of like sad. And I'm like, yeah, that's the one I'm going to put on. Like that little
the halfway transformed head. That's creepy as hell. Holy.
Yeah, dude.
It was like cartoon accurate.
And this is one of those threshold figures. And what I mean by that is like we put out Man-Bat We wanted to see the reaction. Thank God it sold out, because now it like opens up the possibilities to other big figures in this line. Like people would be maybe down for Bane, Killer Croc, Clayface. You know,
Oh my
like
god.
Clayface is my favorite character of the show, so that's what I'm really hoping for.
Damn, look at and these shots by Brandon too. Like
That
the,
is
the,
a
the
beaut
close-ups.
shot.
Through the lighting,
Yeah.
That face effect, that sad face effect is awesome.
right? It's something about it, dude. Because it's a tragic character in the show.
Yeah.
Is he the same kind of backstory as like Kurt Connor's Lizard? Just
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
scientist self-inflicted kind of experiment.
Yeah, if you watch the show, it was the first after the 2-part like special with Catwoman. It's the first episode. It's so I guess it's technically episode 3, but it was the first episode that was not that Catwoman story that it started with. Yeah, it's really good. On Leather Wings.
Yes, it is. We're doing a rewatch on Patreon. So we did the 2 Catwoman episodes, and then we did Heart of Ice, which we found out that scientist, the head of the other scientist company, was Mark Hamill's voice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There you go. Oh, here you go. Harley, pre-order, Phantasm, and I'm trying to find a picture of Freeze. There you go. Even though it's long gone.
So that one's long gone, but we are, and it's not coming back, but we are bringing a new variant of Freeze out, which is called a Noir Edition. So because animated series feels so much like a noir film, and we wanted to give collectors another chance at this figure because it's always talked about. We have this new colorway that we debuted at Comic-Con that's like black and gray and white, like a grayscale figure. So it'll be the same sculpt, all the accessories you want, but it'll have that grayscale look. And then there's a new Batman that's going to come out in that grayscale, which actually looks really cool. Yeah. And I think maybe I don't know if we revealed it, but I think there's a Joker.
Let's just to be safe.
Yeah, I think there's a Joker. I'll say it really quiet like this.
For whoever's not paying attention. This glare on the back of the tank, I thought it was the lighting
I know
in the studio, because once I turned it, I'm like, oh, it's still there. That's part of the Paint app.
Yeah.
Like, unreal. So real. It's unreal. Speaking of conventions, Toy Fair is this weekend, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Is Mondo, do they have a presence there?
Yeah, Mondo's have a presence there. Bob Fulkerson, who looks like a mix of Guillermo del Toro and a grizzly bear, is going to be repping us out there. He's one of the people in our toy department who kicks ass and handles all the big business. Yeah, it's a good idea. Gray Ghost and Grayscale is a great idea. And Phantasm is not technically in grayscale because you got the Andrea in color, but it does fit nicely when you have the full Phantasm next to those figures. But yeah, so Mondo will have some stuff there. I don't think we're revealing anything there, to be perfectly honest. I even told the Toy Anxiety people like don't stress that booth. Go check it out and say hi to everybody, but we're not revealing anything there.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
That I know of.
It's always cool to see everything displayed together.
Yeah,
so either way, if you're there, check it out.
Yeah.
New York Comic Con. I don't think I saw the name on the exhibitor list.
No, we're not. I don't think we're doing it. I don't think we're doing it. And there's a chance we're doing Designer Con, but I'm hoping I don't have to travel anymore this year. To be perfectly honest, I'm a tired boy. I did all the shows this year with Mondo. We did Designer Con last year in November. Then we had a little bit of time off, and then we did Texas Frightmare in May, which was like a horror convention, really cool.
Okay.
And we did obviously Comic-Con. I did the licensing expo in Vegas, which is another business to business show. And there was another one in there and I can't remember, but it's been a lot. So I'm super happy to just maybe PowerCon.
PowerCon, yeah, with all the big reveals.
Yeah.
All
so
right,
now I'm just chilling.
Mario wants to hold hands with Machu and jump in on this line together into the metaphorical off the cliff. I don't know if that's what this would be.
Dude, it's so funny that more Marvel Legends collectors and Black Series collectors, and people who collect the scale, are jumping into our line than even like the 6 scale collectors. There definitely are, but it's more that it's more people who have never gotten into 6 scale they were like super satisfied with Legends and all that, and why not? They're great figures. But those are the ones who are jumping in more because it feels analogous to what they're already collecting. Like the IPs fit, the look, the aesthetic, the colors, all that fits, the articulation fits, and it just feels like that next evolution of your action figure collection, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, the simplistic way, it's like it's a bigger action figure. So for people who collect Legends and things like that, this makes sense to them. When you look at it, it doesn't seem confusing as
Right.
opposed to looking at something with soft goods, and then you're like,
Yeah.
sometimes it looks like they're pajamas, or
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't photograph well. In general, Hot Toys stuff like that looks really good, but it makes sense why somebody who collects the Hasbro stuff, for example, because of what I'm holding, to kind of look over here, the meme with the guy walking with his lady looking back.
Yeah, that's a lot of people say that to us, that meme is what, but and it also fits the characters in the IP, like X-Men animated, Batman animated, Spider-Man animated fit this style. But we also are doing like more realistic and soft good stuff. Like we announced our Megan figure, our 1/6 Megan figure.
Oh, nice.
Who's gonna have like fully tailored dress by designed by Tim Hansen from Sideshow, and the real hair and the swappable like damaged head on it too. We also got McCready from The Thing, coming out, so he's gonna have real tailored soft goods, and and by the way, swappable heads with a realistic figure. Just saying, multiple heads. And then there's Nada from They Live, one of my favorite movies of all time. It's basically a Roddy Piper figure in 6 scale with the soft goods, tailored flannel shirt, the jeans. He's got the sunglasses. So we are playing in that realm too. It's just that in this, with the animated series, it makes more sense from our perspective, from the design perspective, to keep them like this so that you never have an angle where it doesn't look like the show.
Right, and the uncanny Magneto kind of shows that, like, hey, we can still make it, in like the non-cell shaded look, and still make it look good. Guys, look at this.
Dope.
Yeah, this is definitely what have I done? What have I done?
It happens, but I will say this, as someone who collects some 6 scale figures. You if you get into 6 scale, I don't think you spend more money overall. As someone who's done it, you just get less stuff, but the stuff that you get has like this different presence. And believe me, I still have NECA Universal Monsters. I collect those, and they look awesome. But it's like a separate thing. And I still have reaction figures from Super 7. They're awesome. It's a different thing. But if you ask me if I could only have one depiction of certain characters or certain lines, if I have the choice, I'm gonna go 6 scale because it helps me edit my collection too. Like there's just not as many to get, and man, they just look awesome in your room. Like when you bring people in, and you got the good lighting and all that, they just look sick. And it's not something that's available with every IP, like you can't always get a 6 scale one, but when you can, it's pretty cool, man. It changes the look of your room for sure.
It also allows for more detail, right? To be
that's true.
You have a bigger surface area to present your subject, so some of the stuff that might get lost when you shrink things down, you get to expand on that on this size, and it comes through in this figure.
It does, dude. And to your point, like there are incredible sculptors at all these companies working on these figures, and when you see the renders, they look perfect. And then sometimes it's just difficult for a factory to reproduce what the renders are showing. And so when it works great, and it's a huge success. Shout out again to NECA. I love this Mo figure. It's amazing. But there are times when, we've all been there where you get something, you're like, it didn't hit the mark. And that's sometimes like just a limitation of what you can do with the form factor. So yeah, for me, if I'm going to spend like $200 on, I don't know the math, like 5 different $40 figures or whatever it is, 6 different $30 figures, or one 6-scale figure. Since I got my first hot toy in like 2018, 2019, I've started to change how I collect. Yeah, certainly. It's true.
It's silly. I've actually moved into Star Wars TVC more to get rid of slow
I
down
love
on
TVC though.
Black Series. Yeah, 'cause you can get
Yeah.
shipped.
No, I love TVC. I love the packaging. Sometimes I want to keep it in the package. Sometimes I want to open it. But it's also like that's an aesthetic that's a throwback too. I even like the TVC retro. I don't know where you guys stand on that. Like I love the retro Mando that looks like a dorky 70s figure. I love those. I love those.
Josh Brown asked, non-timed edition of Gambit hasn't gone up yet, right? I just looked on the website. I don't see.
Right. We have right. There should still be a chance for Gambit. It hasn't gone up yet.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've wasted enough of everyone's time. I like think it's educational for me. Yeah, dude, this is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got to chat after SDCC. Like we planned this, we spoke a few months ago, but it worked out this week perfectly because again, if you are a vinyl collector, nope, not this guy. I was going to mute you. If you're
a toy collector of any kind, like if you have diversity in your collection, like I always say, like you saw Hector's shelf behind him when he was here. Like I love walking into a toy room and getting a little bit of everything. Like I said, I love my reactions. I love my NECAs. I love my 6-scale. I love my Sofubi, like the ones I was showing you. Like some of this stuff just feels like I'm at, I don't know, man. I don't know how to explain it. It just feels like a real toy collection library where there's like a history of toys in general. In my collection, you can find stuff from all the different, walks and eras. And I just kind of love that. And so Mondo, being that it's always been an artist first company, it makes sense that like you're going to find stuff like this. And these are conversation pieces too. I get told all the time by people that these are the figures that their spouses allow them to have in the common area because they're black and white. They don't clash with colors, and they find them to be more like an art piece than a toy. Not that that's a disparaging term to me, but to some people it would be. So I also feel like that's a huge plus on this one. And if you're a Godzilla fan, I think it's a must, man.
Hell yeah. So while you have that in hand, let me throw this back up on the screen, Peter. Shift a little bit to your left and let people know, where they can get this, when they can get this. Also,
mondoshop.com. You can get it right now, but it ends tomorrow bright and early. If you're sleeping in tomorrow, if you're taking a sick day tomorrow and you don't have your alarm clock set, you might miss it. So I would say if there's any desire to jump in, do it now, because that's it. We're not bringing them back. And you can look at the Mondo site. We don't bring stuff back once it's gone.
Heck yeah. And of course, you also have a YouTube channel.
Yes, Attack Peter on YouTube. You can see right here, like, look at that thumbnail, how beautiful it is. My wife does the thumbnails. My wife and I, Gabby, she runs the stream, really. She brings all the news of the week. We talk about movies and TV and toys, and like anytime there's any kind of alien UFO news, I force her to cover it. And then all the while I'm carving and making live art. I think from the power of technology, I can show you like an example here. So this is what it kind of looks like. We'll cover the news on one screen here, and then you can see I'm doing the live art there. So it's a fun show. It's especially if you have ADD like me, you can like have tons of stuff going on at the same time. All we're missing now is a stock ticker at the bottom.
Yeah, it's really well produced.
Thanks, man.
Stream, because as somebody who's been doing this and trying to refine it for the last few years, to see everything that's going on your screen, all the cameras and all the inputs that I imagine, it's just like it's like, hey, that's impressive. I dig that. I
appreciate it, man. Yeah, the room looks like a spaghetti monster in here with all the cables, but the end result works. That's what matters. So again, Wednesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Again, great opener for Ryan Dole's show. So after my show, we leave. Everybody goes over to Ryan's, hopefully.
Super cool. Again, you can see on the screen here, you're carving out, sculpting some stuff that you can press. You have this giant press in your room. I saw it's so cool.
Oh yeah, you saw. So I have a big crank press. It's all kind of old school. But definitely when I'm doing the large, these I'll print by hand with just a hard roller. It's called a brayer. But the big ones that I use to make the Mondo posters, I do run it through like a hand crank press. Everything's handmade. The paper's handmade. The art is handmade. You know, there's no erasing. You know, there might be blood on your print if I cut myself with a tool when I'm printing or something like that. I've had to extract insects from the paper because they're made in the paper's made in Nepal, like on a paper farm. So like wild shit happens. So yeah, it's a fun show. I think so. I have a terrible attention span, and like when I'm watching it back, I'm like, if I get bored, I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, this is a problem. So I think it's pretty entertaining for sure, and we love having you guys over.
Definitely go check that out. And support, you know, a great artist doing really cool stuff, and just hearing, you know, in a abridged version of your journey into toys and doing all this stuff. Thank you for coming here. Awesome guest. It was a lot of fun. Peter mentioned toy anxiety a few times. Last week I did a stream with them on Unboxing Thursdays. It was ridiculous.
It was so good.
Just wish it could have you know, it just could have kept going. Same for this too. But if you haven't seen it yet, please feel free to go watch the replay. The week before that, had on Blake from Toy Collector Magazine. Next week, the first Thursday of every month, will be the Enablers edition of Unboxing Thursday. So the Enablers come back on. More toy unboxings. Oh, I can tell you what I'm opening next week. DK, I got in from ecollectibles.ca. I got Denji for Chainsaw Man, SH Figure Arts, and ecollectibles. Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be tough to wait this whole week.
Yeah.
But he also sent some extra figures for me to unbox to show. This is like 1/12 scale soft goods, dude, like a gas mask and all this gear.
That's awesome.
Mole Rats, it's called.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And D20 Studios, I think they make that giant wolf thing.
Giant wolf, giant boar.
The mount, yeah, that people can ride. It's also this Chinese soldier. So obviously you have to do it for my ancestors. I'm going to open this up.
Cubans don't get any figures. You're lucky.
I don't
Nothing
know.
did. We got maybe like a garbage Scarface figure who's not even really Cuban.
There's a third party. I'm waiting for a really good, accurate Al Pacino Scarface figure.
Yeah,
but
we don't claim him though.
Right. As I'm sure it's just like everyone keeps quoting Scarface. It's like he's Italian.
By the way, it's no better in Miami. The Cubans, some Cubans love to quote Scarface. Like he's like, I mean, guys, you realize he's not actually Cuban, right? Okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Look at a pelicans fly.
Oye Ming. Someone just said Oye Ming. There you go. That's a Cubanism right there. Figure
yeah, it's a lot of fun, and of course, recently launched the Toying Around Patreon. If you want to support the channel, also enjoy more content, you can check it out on patreon.com/toyingaround. While I have that up, I want to thank everyone who's joined so far. We have Corey, Kayla, who has been in all the streams. You're amazing. Thank you. Of course, Sam Rock, John Edwards, Alexander Eagleson, John, Damu Chicciato, Winger Luz, Dario, Toy Farce, Rhea, 796 Studios, Yoko McCann, Matt Logic 44, Dave. Oh, I got a double logo going on. Tommy K, Quinn Calling, Michael Hogan, Jay, The One Fist, Tyler, Panfred Nudo, Bad Force Grubs, Nightmare Nemo, Carl, Marie, Cornelius, and John Takus. You are all awesome, and everyone who watches is awesome, but it's cool because it gives me a chance to, you know, go to conventions like SDCC or New York Comic Con in a few weeks to cover these toys and bring a different type of toy content for people, not just, you know, pictures of toy news, but pictures of toys that I see, and hopefully that experience for everybody. And there's exclusive interviews and content that I'm working on now, so it's all up there. Is Kevin gonna make an Al Pacino impression? Too late. I already did. Thank you. So if Hector is watching on the replay, Hector, thank you for spending some time with us and showing off some really cool toys. Peter, I've been waiting for this one for many weeks, and
thanks, man.
This was a lot of fun. Thank you for
anytime you want to do it, dude. Like I get a kick out of it. Hector loves to do it, and we always have releases, so there's always something fun to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys have a new release that you get in hand, you want to come on the show and open it, you know, and just chat.
Just reach out. We're always, you know how to reach out to us. Just reach out. We're always in like this crazy haze of like get it done, get more stuff, working on more stuff. So just cut when you reached out, you just cut through the madness, and we're like, yeah, perfect, great idea. Let's do it.
I appreciate it. DK, anything else?
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks, man.
For me, I will be at the Mississauga convention. I forgot what it's called, but I will be there
Mississauga
this
Collector
Sunday.
Con?
Yes,
Yeah.
Mississauga Collector Con on Sunday. So me and my friend Richard will be having a dealer table, and I'm just trying to let go of my collection, and so is he. So
And me
just
too.
trying to purge it. Yep, that is it for me.
Cool. Yeah, everybody. Peter's links, Hector's links are in the video description down below, as well as the link to get a Mechagodzilla if you have been, enabled tonight, or other X-Men figures, and also the link to the Patreon as well. Thank you so much for watching. Toy Migos is on if you want to head on over there and have a butter raid over on Toy Migos. Other than that, please, if you enjoyed your time here, if this is your first time, I know there's some new names in the chat. Do us a favor, leave a thumbs up, subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it means the world to YouTuber Peter. I'm sure you understand that as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what I tell people is like the stream, subscribe to the stream, but also once the stream ends, go into the regular comments, not the live chat, and leave a comment of some kind. That's huge. So do that. Yeah,
I'll reply to all of those too. Yes, let's get out of here. Peter, DK, thank you both. Have yourselves a great night. We're gonna do I have a little musical prepared for the end. And keep touring around. Peace.
Peace.
Have a good night.
Come on. Oh, you're looping it. I thought you were gonna end it.